Welcome to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's talk show. Now here's your host, Wilmot Mutty Perkins.
Morning, everybody. Morning, and welcome once again to Perkins Online. Well, we had a budget tabled yesterday by the minister. We also had a Governor General's throne speech, the opening of Parliament. That speech sounded very much as if it might have been drafted by the Governor General himself. But we need to understand that that is not the case. The throne speech, the Governor General's throne speech, is not really the Governor General's speech. It's a speech mouthed by the Governor General, but it is crafted by the government and is supposed to contain to be a kind of summary of the government's plans for the forthcoming parliamentary year. What the government has in mind, what its vision is, how it intends to implement that vision. The impression that one is getting is that the throne speech yesterday, which must have been a record in terms of its brevity, that it dealt with relative trivia. When one considers the problems that this country faces, one of the things that the throne speech seems to have concentrated on was making child pornography into a separate criminal offense. Now, it is already an offense, right? Child pornography is already an offense, but they want to make it to separate it from the law, which at the moment defines it as an offense, and provide a new law for making it into a new offense. It seems to me that the government had nothing to say. Which is a very serious matter, you know. They've been in office for 18 years. They're coming up to a new election. And what do they have to tell the country about what another 5 years of this government, what implications it would have for Jamaica? The impression that one is getting from that throne speech is that they're entirely out of ideas. The country has some extraordinarily serious problems. It is not an overstatement, in my view, to say that things have fallen apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the land. Look at what is happening in the schools. And you know, one of the fascinating things about Jamaica, I think that dialogue is of profound importance. Dialogue not only, on a program like this, but dialogue between programs. There are people who come on air as talk show hosts, radio journalists, call them what you will. Others who come on as political commentators and so on and so forth. And I think that it is very important that whatever the discussion, that it isn't in isolation. Something isn't just said on the Breakfast Club and allowed to fall, and something else is said on Nationwide and allowed to fall, and so on and so forth. So I spend a fair amount of my time listening to these other programs, taping them, and from time to time, bringing excerpts and discussing, carrying on the discussion. Now, I think this is very important, right? And I also think that, if I say something on this program, if it is damn nonsense, say it is damn nonsense, right? Tell people why it is damn nonsense so they don't go believing it, right? If it makes sense, on the other hand, take it up, discuss it, carry it on, enlarge on it, whatever. Now, sorry, I beg your pardon. I made a point on this program yesterday that I think has very serious implications. When you look at what happened at that school, Kingston Technical High School, and I tell you something, there was another story on the news last night about a youngster from Kingston College who wounded an Ardennes student with a knife, was it? Right? And I think some other students were involved, and 3 18-year-olds, if I remember rightly, were arrested. This violence, the point I made, this violence is and the breaking of rules is characteristic of schools all over Jamaica. It is happening right across the board. Now, I hear discussions going on about, what to do about this and so on. The matter, I hear that the Kingston Technical matter is being brought to the board, and that the probability is that these lads will be expelled. Is that a remedy for what is happening? Whatever you do to those lads, is that going to be the remedy? When those lads are growing up in a society in which the same thing is happening right across the board and from bottom to top. Gangsterism and crime has long in this country been associated with politics. And some of our most prominent politicians are well known to have played outstanding roles in this connection of politics and crime. In addition to that, justice system is not serving people in the way that they would have expected. People are crying out all the time for justice. We want justice. Things are done to them and nothing comes out of it. Some of those things by policemen. And people take the law into their own hands. Our Minister of National Security tells us that in Jamaica, the man who plays by the rules is the man that gets shafted. If you don't want to be shafted, therefore, it would seem, don't play by the rules. Do not rigidly adhere to the rules. That is the implication of what our Minister of National Security has told us. You want to be shafted? Okay, stick with the rules. You don't want to be shafted? Abandon the rules wherever your interests dictate. Our former Prime Minister has told us the law is not a shackle. And so on. Our chairman of the party in office has said that we always think that we are the ones that should be in power in the interest of the country. And so anything that will lead us or cause us to be in power, in office, we regard as being best for the country and in the best interest of the country. So what if I say that, well, I think that my interest, the fulfillment of my interest, would serve the country, and therefore I am entitled to use whatever means are available, legal or illegal, to get my way. This is the atmosphere, this is the society in which these young people are being brought up. What are we going to do about it? How are we going to change all of this? And you want to tell me that in the face of problems like that, not to mention the economic problems of the country, not to mention the fact that there are so many people out of work, although I heard a Rhodes Scholar on the Breakfast Club the other morning saying that unemployment is at the lowest level it has ever been. Unemployment, a Rhodes Scholar and a PhD out of the University of the West Indies. We take a break. We come back in a moment. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. I was saying that, things are in such a mess in the country. There is all the violence, which, as we were saying, is creeping into the it is into the schools. And when I heard about that KC boy last night, I wondered what the Bishop Gibson must be spinning like a gig in his grave. And there is all the violence that is going on in Arnett Gardens. And I heard my good friend, Superintendent Hewitt, on, I think it was on Drive Time Live last night. And he was saying that all this violence has been going on since the 9th of April 2004. in Arnett Gardens. Well, in the not specifically in Arnett Gardens, in the constituency of South St. Andrew, Dr. Davis's constituency. Right? And it's an internal PNP war. He didn't say that. But that is my understanding of what it is. Right? Since the April of 2004, right? We're now almost in April of 2007. So we're talking about 4 years. 3 years. Right? And there are other areas in which violence and crime, most people in Jamaica seem to regard crime and violence as the worst of our problems. I'm not sure that is so, because I think that there are things that give rise to this crime and violence, and they are more serious than the crime and violence itself. Right? They are causative factors. Primarily the economic situation. And that gives rise to a whole host of problems. The roads, the condition of roads and bridges, the situation in hospitals, in schools, whatever. And given a situation like that, are you telling me that, and particularly in an election year, that is the best that the government could have come up with as a throne speech? It seems to me that they are bereft of ideas. The other thing is, of course, that the budget, right? They have added another $8 billion to the budget, to last year's budget. So we are now at $380 billion. $380 billion. But the greater part of that is to pay staff. Well, let's listen to the Observer is telling us this morning that the government yesterday tabled a $380 billion budget for 2007-8, an increase of just $8 billion over last year's total expenditure. The figure included $239.3 billion for recurrent expenditure. That is to say, recurrent spending. That $239.3 billion. That is recurrent expenditure, meaning which would include public sector salaries and interest on the debt that has to be serviced. And I suspect that the greater part of it would be debt servicing. I think there's a figure later down in this thing. $141 billion for capital expenditure, capital spending, composed of $124.9 billion for for capital A projects, which are government financed capital, or one-off projects and so on. But lower down in the story, they come to discuss the contribution of the budget of the debt into which Dr. Davis has gotten the country. Last night, the opposition reacting to the figures said with at least 34% of the projected expenditure to be spent on debt servicing, at least 54% of a $380 billion budget is to be spent on debt servicing. More than half of that budget is to be spent on debt servicing. Finance Minister Omar Davies would be seeking more expenditure on the supplementary estimates. In other words, this is another variety of run with it. He can't come with the full horror story prior to the election, right? So he's giving you this, and then later on in the year he will be telling you how much more will have to be allocated to complete the servicing of the budget, complete the government's obligations, right? That is the position. A very, very ugly situation we're in. And, I mean, you know that the situation is ugly is one thing. That the government has been in office for 18 years, in which time all these problems have become worse than they were. That is one thing. But look at the throne speech. Does the government have an idea how to improve the situation? That is the question. It does not seem to be so. It does not. Doesn't seem to be so. But I stand to be corrected, and would be very happy to be corrected. You know, very happy. Just, I would be glad to believe that things are on the rise. When I say that, I'm not talking about the debt. To believe that things are on the rise, things are getting better, that we are poised for a new beginning, right? On the threshold of a new beginning, as Mr. Manley used to tell us every year. It doesn't seem to be so. It seems as if the country is getting deeper and deeper into trouble. Things fall apart, turning and turning in the widening gale. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the land. On the world, he said, but on this land we're talking about now. People of Jamaica are in deep, 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 deep trouble. Deep trouble. Question is, how are we going to get out of it. And, you know, point I was coming to earlier on, I don't hear anybody I don't hear people generally taking up these issues. The people discussing things on radio programs and so on. I don't hear them taking up these issues and dealing with them in a serious way. Fine, yes, we talk about the roads and we talk about this, but nobody is looking at the full total picture and saying, this is the situation in which we are. How in hell are we going to get out of it? Does the government have an idea? And does the opposition have an idea? Right? These are the things we need to discuss. And there's the great issue of justice, of course. And be asked to take a break. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Where was I? Yes, we're talking about the where is an idea coming from? Where is the ability coming from to do something about these serious problems of the country? We can't just go on, you know, blindly sort of fumbling our way in the dark. That is going to take us into deeper and deeper trouble. Right? How are we going to get out of it? There is nothing here to indicate. And I think that for the moment, I mean, the throne speech is even more significant than the budget. Right? They're dealing with relative trivia. I'm not telling you that you know, abuse of children and that kind of thing is not important. It is important. But it fits into a context. And there are other things that are driving the kind of lawlessness that we are confronted with, which we're paying no attention to. Anyway, okay. Hello? Hello.
Hello, Mutty.
Oh, Mr. Chuck, good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Not too bad.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, have you had a chance to read the Governor General's speech yesterday?
I haven't read the full thing. I've just heard what was broadcast on the radio, and I assume.
Well, you know.
On radio and television.
What is interesting,
Uh-huh.
first of all, it was short, and we can't really complain about the length.
Yes, it lasted about 18 minutes, I gather.
I know it was less than 20 minutes. I don't know, some people say it was 17, but I know it was less than 20 minutes.
Yes.
What is amazing in Mutty, and I can go through last year's speech and also this year. About half of this year's speech came from last year's speech.
Is that so?
Yes.
Are you serious?
I'm going to read last year's speech, parts of it, and
Yes.
read this year's speech when you know, shortly, and you tell me if it's not the same thing. Okay?
Uh-huh.
But what was amazing, Mutty, when we came out, you know, as we got to the opposition room, we were so embarrassed. You know, we said, but my God, who on earth could have written the speech?
Uh-huh.
And somebody said it must have been written by a Shira. So I said, what do you mean by a Shira? It so happened that some time ago the Prime Minister referred not to heroes and heroines, but to heroes and Shiras.
I beg your pardon? Where was this?
Heroes and Shiras. The heroes and Shiras.
Oh, is that so?
This was on JIS notebook, January the 6th and 7th this year.
Uh-huh.
Because the person apparently who heard her and saying, so this evening we hail the memory of the Haitian freedom fighters who stood in solidarity with us as we salute our heroes and Shiras who fought against slavery here in Jamaica. So the person who heard it said, no, they can't believe what they just heard. So they asked for a transcript. So I sent you a copy of the transcript.
Yes.
Showing what I just read.
Uh-huh.
We salute our heroes and shearers.
This was on Jamaica Information Service.
Notebook on January the 6th. And
What day was it? January 6th?
And 7th.
And 7th.
Yes. And it is GIS that faxed a copy of the transcript to the person.
The heroes and our heroes and shearers.
So when yesterday, it came to my attention yesterday when we were in the opposition room, and somebody said this speech must have been written by a shearer.
Well, I'm prepared to accept that that Sister P is a shearer.
Well, Mutty, it may be a new word being coined, but I have not heard of it before. But Mutty, when you listened to the speech yesterday, for instance, it was only 6 pages in the book. But
well, I tell you something, Mr. Chuck. When I heard the first report of it on our radio station here at 12 o'clock, right?
Yes.
I was amazed. And I was saying that, this is dealing with triviality, relatively.
Well,
right?
What is the
highlight? And somebody said to me that, you must wait and hear other reports. And which I did. Right? And they were all as bad as the first.
But listen, no, Mutty. You take, for instance, the bills that child pornography. That is the highlight. No, this is what they're going to. Which is, I'm not saying it's not a good thing, but
hold on.
Be the highlight, Mutty, of a tone speech.
But not only that. What are they doing? Making child pornography is already a crime, isn't it?
It is. Of course it is.
So what are they doing now? Making it into another crime?
Because there's no doubt, Mutty, that if the violation and exploitation of children,
yes,
for matters like this is criminal. So
but of course,
I don't know what on earth it just maybe they want to make it explicit in law. Well, it is already explicit to the best of my knowledge.
Yes.
So I don't know exactly.
So my understanding is that what they want to do is to make it a separate crime from ordinary pornography.
But always the exploitation and violation of children, it's criminal.
Yes.
But Mutty, I said that you take, for instance, some of the bills which they say they're going to do this year. The Charter of Rights Bill, the Incest Punishment Bill, the Offences Against the Person Bill. These were 3 things that were promised from last year.
Yes.
I'm going to read a few.
Now, how do these address
the problem?
The really serious problems that confront this country?
You take the matter, Mutty, that confronts the country, the economy.
Yes.
In this year's budget speech, this is one small paragraph. The government will continue to pursue macroeconomic policies aimed at achieving, among other positive objectives, increased employment, low inflation, a stable currency, a more competitive economy, and accelerated economic growth. Fine? But it's almost exactly, Mutty, the same thing he said last year.
Yes.
This is what was said last year. In terms of the economy, the government will continue to pursue economic policies to reduce inflation, reduce the debt GDP ratio, reduce the fiscal deficit, and overall promote long-term growth and prosperity. None of that was achieved, Mutty. None of that was achieved. The inflation was slightly down, yes. The debt to GDP was about the same. The fiscal deficit remained the same. It was not reduced. And there was no growth and prosperity. Then it's in this year's speech, one paragraph read, the matter of transparent and realistic financing of political parties remains an important one, and the government looks forward to working with the opposition to find meaningful solutions. That was this year. This is what was said last year, almost exactly the same thing. Government intends to give priority attention. To give priority attention is that of the transparent and realistic financing of political parties to enable representatives to better service their constituents while providing funding for election campaigns. To this end, the government proposes to begin discussions with the opposition and the wider society in search for solutions. That was last year. And they say exactly the same
And
thing.
those discussions are now going on, I take it.
Yes, at the Electoral Commission level.
Uh-huh.
And then, Mutty, when it comes to, beautification, last year it said the same thing it said about beautification this year.
Beautification.
Yeah, last year it said, a clean, beautiful, and accommodating environment throughout the country is an important ingredient for sustainable development. In recognition of this, the government proposes to invest in and forge partnerships with the private sector, the non-governmental organizations, communities, and individuals to clean up and beautify Jamaica. This program will also include giving special attention to signage. Importantly, arrangements will be put in place to ensure that facilities are properly maintained on an ongoing basis. That is what they said last year in Mutty.
Uh-huh.
This year they said almost the same thing. The government will be intensifying its current efforts to clean up and beautify the country and intends to sustain it. I mean, when I just happened to keep last year's address.
Yes.
The ceremonial opening address, the
Uh-huh,
throne
uh-huh.
speech. And then I read again this year, but I'm reading the same thing. No, and I could go on and on, Mutty, in relation to a few other areas, such as the education and so on.
Hold on just a moment for me, please. Okay, thank you very much. We're back with you, Mr. Chuck.
Yeah, Mutty.
Uh-huh.
The point I wanted to make, you see, is that no new ideas are coming forward.
Yes.
Ideas are
I think that is pretty clear.
Ideas are being recycled. And the point is that they're not being implemented.
Yes.
So, for instance, in last year's budget, they spoke about introducing a nutritional program for early childhood education.
Uh-huh.
This year, they make the same point again. During this year, new curricula will be introduced for early childhood education, and a nutrition program will also be introduced. But they said it last year, Mutty, that it would have been introduced last year. And I've quoted, passages from last year and this year to show you that instead of ideas being implemented, Mutty,
Uh-huh.
they just keep repeating themselves year after year.
Yes.
And nothing is being done. The beautification program in the inner cities and rural communities should have started last year, apart from what is happening in a few areas like around Heroes Park.
Well, Mr. Chuck,
Yeah.
I should not have expected that the beautification program, wonderful as that is, right, should be a matter of priority.
In a true
At a time when people are living in places
Yes.
where if they get sick at night, they can't summon a taxi to come and pick them up and take them to the hospital, right? Because the taxi don't want to drive on the road that leads to their house,
But this is it, Mutty.
right?
And I go further. Not only the roads, Mutty, but because of the areas.
Absolutely.
Because many taxi drivers will tell you they don't go into certain areas after daytime.
Yes.
Because at night they're very fearful about being hijacked and extortion occur.
Well, there you are. I mean, these are the issues that need to be dealt with.
And you know, Mutty, what is happening to this country, some of which you highlighted in your opening, is the breakdown of indiscipline. The breakdown of discipline.
Yes.
The indiscipline that is occurring in the country.
But it is not just indiscipline occurring in the country. It is that we live in a country what these youngsters who have been misbehaving in the schools,
Yes.
what are they seeing around them?
But you,
Eh?
But
And
you-
not just at the bottom,
but
but from bottom to top, right?
and you see,
And they're hearing that the law is not a shackle. That the man who plays by the rules in Jamaica is the man who gets shafted,
fine.
right? So what are they to do?
Well, they are just following the example of their leaders.
Absolutely.
And then when you ask them, why should they behave differently? They tell you that if you, as you say, if you play by the rules, you don't get ahead.
Absolutely.
And it is a major problem, Mutty, within our society. That you notice in the schools now, Mutty, that the schools are erupting.
But of course, look at what happened at Kingston Technical.
Well, and it is...
And last night, there was a story on the news.
Yes, about two schoolboys.
I think there are three of them. Three 18-year-olds.
Yes.
That are now in police custody. Right? One of them, at least, from Kingston College.
I heard that. To the disgrace of, of what is happening everywhere.
Can you imagine how Bishop Gibson must be feeling now if he can be aware of this?
And Douglas Forest.
And Douglas Forest?
Yes. Because I went to KC, Mutty, and discipline was the order of the day. Mutty, when I was a prefect, we went around to the lowest forms to get the students in the lower forms to tie their ties properly.
Yes.
In other words, they had to look neat.
Yes.
When I drive on the road and from downtown passing KC boys now, Mutty, I am ashamed of what I see. I mean, well, people might think I'm making a big thing out of it, but the shabby way in which they dress, walking on the streets, is something in the 60s when I was at school. Douglas Forrest would speak to us about the shame on the school when we dress untidily on the road.
Yes.
Right? And I'm saying that, what is happening is that all of our institutions, Mutty, are becoming dysfunctional.
Yes.
Because they are not seeing the need to act in an upright, forthright, and disciplined way.
Yes.
And you see it right across Jamaica. All of our institutions, including the church, Timothy.
Yes.
Where you have so many uproars, so many political fights between committee members, and churches fighting one another.
Yes.
You see it in the police force, where the order of the day is that the rule of law is not what is being complied with.
But why should the rule of law be complied with if the law is not a shackle?
Mutty, I tell you, sometimes when you read and see things, you ask your question, who is going to bring it together? How can this thing be brought together? And it seems to me, Mutty, it can only be brought together if the leaders of our country, not only our national leaders, but the civil society leaders, our business leaders, right across the board, we need to set the correct example, and send the right signal to our people.
One of the points that needs to be continually made and repeated, Mr. Chuck, that term, the rule of law.
Yes.
People use it in this country, right? And including people in high places.
Yes.
And they don't seem to know what it means, right? The rule of law does not mean my obeying the law and that man down the road there obeying the law, right? That happened too in Hitler's Germany.
Yes.
It happened in Stalin's Russia.
Yes.
Right? Mussolini's Italy. And Genghis Khan's China. Right? And there's no doubt happening in Mugabe's Zimbabwe.
Exactly.
Right? The rule of law is about the government itself.
Absolutely.
Being bound by the law.
Because when the government breaches the law with impunity, then the people ask, well, why can't
But look at what regularly happens.
Every day.
When Dr. Davis exceeds the budget, the debt limit.
The debt limit. Which is happening right now, Mutty, every day. Every day it is happening.
But of course it happens over and over.
Yeah.
He exceeds the limit, and then at his convenience, when he feels like it, he goes to Parliament and gets Parliament to put up the limit. Right? And then it happens again and again and again. He has no respect for the law.
Well, quite. Now, Mutty, this country is not going to take off
unless... Or is showing none.
It cannot take off on the present path. And, you have heard all these stories about the economy is on the verge of a takeoff.
Rubbish.
Let me say, Mutty, there's no doubt that the country needs a leap in prosperity.
Yes.
But it is not going to get it by hiding the figures, hiding the facts.
Yes.
When you can say that unemployment is going down, you have to walk in the inner cities and ask which unemployment they're talking about.
But I heard Dr. Trevor Monroe saying this on the Breakfast Club the other morning.
Yes, but you see...
That unemployment is the lowest it has ever been in Jamaica.
But I can only say, Mutty, that unemployment in Jamaica is a testimony to the hopelessness in the country.
Yes.
Because people no longer
are going around looking for
seek
jobs.
employment because they have
They have no
tried for the last
expectation of finding them.
Exactly. So how they measure unemployment in this country is not people who are out of work and who need work, but who are seeking work.
Yes.
So if you're not seeking work, you're
Actively
not
seeking
unemployed.
employment. Right?
And you see, Mutty, it seemed to me that there's no doubt in my mind, Mutty, that unemployment is in excess of 20%, probably 30-odd%.
Very likely.
In many of the inner city communities, Mutty, the unemployment is in excess of 50%.
Well, Mr. Chuck, once upon a time, you see, we had a figure. Well, I think in the 1960s, I remember
Yes,
a survey done in which they published a figure for underemployment.
quite.
Right? I haven't seen such a figure in Jamaica for 40 years or more.
Yes.
Right? And it is one of the, I think that the problem of underemployment is far worse in Jamaica than even the problem of employment.
There's no doubt about that.
Unemployment.
There's no doubt about that. Not
Right.
only that, Mutty, when you look at the paychecks of government workers
Yes.
in particular, whether they work in the health sector, the education, as teachers or police, you wonder how these people survive and what they take home.
Absolutely.
In other words, an average teacher with a graduate degree now, Mutty,
Uh-huh.
if that person takes home 50,000 per month, he or she is lucky. And what can they do with 50,000 per month?
Absolutely.
Right? And they are being well paid as graduate teachers in
But
the
look
civil
at the
service.
police. Look at what the police are paid.
Monty,
Eh?
most policemen take home less than 50,000 per month,
Absolutely.
right? How can they survive on that?
God alone knows.
Another
Unless
point.
anyone who can survive on it should be Minister of Finance.
One other point before I go, Monty. You know, it has been this case between Mr. Siaga and Western Broadcasting.
Oh, hold on just a moment for me. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here.
Yeah, Monty, I just wanted to...
Yes, on some of the reports I heard last night,
Yes.
I got the impression that it was the substance of the case that was had been ruled on by the Privy Council.
Well,
But I now hear that it's just a procedural,
totally procedural.
procedural matter. Yes.
Let me just, first of all, I had the opportunity to read the judgment this morning.
Uh-huh.
And it has nothing to do with press freedom.
With what?
With press freedom.
Yes.
The case is all about whether or not a settlement had been reached between Mr. Siaga and Western Broadcasting.
Yes.
What is very sad is that Mr. Siaga is being unfairly and unreasonably affected by this judgment, Monty,
Uh-huh.
because of I better use my words carefully, because of the foul-up of the lawyers and the judicial system.
Uh-huh.
You know? Because there's no doubt in my mind when you read the judgment, Monty, that Mr. Siaga and Mr. Neverblight came to an understanding that certain monies would be paid to Mr. Siaga, and also that certain free advertisement would be given to him, okay, to use as he saw fit. In other words, he could sell some of it, or he could use it for the Jamaica Labour Party, or for himself, as he sees fit.
Yes.
But what happened, Monty, is that the lawyers never tied up the loose ends.
Yes.
Because, you see, what the Privy Council said is that they had not worked out the terms of the apology. What would be broadcasted on the Western Broadcasting Hot 102 and also on CVM.
Yes.
And also the number of times it would be broadcasted.
Uh-huh.
So that the end result was that the lawyers never tied up those loose ends, successfully obtained from the court that there was a settlement, when in fact what was there was an attempted settlement.
Uh-huh.
An attempt to settle, but there was no settlement. So the case went to the Privy Council, amazingly, Mutty.
Now, our courts in Jamaica accepted that there was a settlement.
Can you imagine, Mutty? Can you imagine? And I mean, it was really disappointing for the Privy Council to point out that several of the significant factors had not yet been decided.
Uh-huh.
So how could there be a settlement?
Well, let me ask you something. In whose favor who was it that went to court to test whether there was a settlement?
Well, I'm not too sure, Mutty. Not to the best of my knowledge, it was a case management. So I'm not. It may have been initiated by the Supreme Court itself in the case management, where both parties would have been brought to court on a claim from Mr. Siaga against Western Broadcasting. Affidavit evidence were put in, but apparently there were disputes as to what was in the affidavits, and no oral examination was allowed. And the end result is that the judge said that there was a settlement.
Yes.
Well, you can't fault the judge at that point, because she said maybe you have decided on the amount to be paid and so on. But by the time it reached the Court of Appeal, Mutty, it should have been clear that the parties have not settled.
Yes.
In other words, in my view, the Court of Appeal should have sent it back to the judge on the basis that there's no settlement. But the end result is that the Court of Appeal upheld that there was a settlement and caused the matter to go to the Privy Council, for the Privy Council to say, how could you say there's a settlement?
And so now Mr. Siaga is required to pay back to Western Broadcasting.
But the worst part of it, Mutty, to pay legal fees.
You know, Mr. Chuck,
the whole thing is very sad.
I was talking about this issue of fees yesterday arising out of Mr. Knight's suggestion and the discussion that I heard with you and Mr. Phipps and Mr. Green.
The Observer has a nice cartoon today, Mutty, where Mr. Knight, when he was in cabinet, is cheering on the imposition of GCT.
Yes.
But now that he's in private practice, he's begging the cabinet to remove.
Yes, but it might be said better late than never.
Yes.
Yes. But the thing is this, that it seems to me that, there is one problem where somebody goes to court.
Yes.
Claiming damages. Right? The court finds in his favor, assesses the damage that was done to the person or his property, and awards damages of, let us say, for convenience, $1 million.
Yes.
Right? Then there are costs which that person incurred in bringing his case to that point. And the court awards costs. But those costs are...
They don't really... They're not...
They're unrealistic.
Unrealistic. No, that's a major problem with the court system, Mutty.
Yes.
In that...
So hold on now. So the court thinks that the damage that was done to him is worth an award of damages of $1 million. Now, out of that $1 million, he's going to have to pay his legal fees.
And it may be more than $1 million.
Possibly. Right? Then now, the court has, in a sense, deceived him.
In fact, Mutty,
it has done him a great injustice.
It cost him to succeed.
Yes, but no. He has not got what the court itself says.
No.
The damage done to him was worth.
It is a problem, Mutty, which has really burdened litigants, not only in the Jamaican English, but more so in the American jurisdiction.
Yes.
Where you can't recover any cost.
You can't recover costs?
No.
Oh, well, then in that event, they must award...
They award enormous damages.
Yes, but the court must be taking into consideration the costs when it awards those damages.
There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
I suspect they do. And that is why in the United States, contingency fees flourish so much. Because, lawyers basically work on the basis that so much work would be put in, and therefore they ask for contingency fees of anywhere between 15 and 50% in the United States.
But then now the question that arises here in this case is who should be paying?
No, I agree. I
agree. Who should be paying those costs?
Well, I agree with you that there's a major problem. It's because legal fees are not cheap. And, speaking as a lawyer,
Yes.
I know why they're not cheap. Because lawyers, apart from their training, they have to assess their experience and skill and expertise that they put into the cases.
Well, I mean, surely
Yes.
the lawyers deserve their fees.
Oh, quite.
No question about that.
The question
right?
that you say is, why is it that they suffer, or the litigants suffer,
Yes.
when their lawyers have succeeded?
Absolutely.
Right.
And if what you say is that the court made, what was the term you used?
You mean contingency fees?
No.
No.
In relation to the decision made in our local courts about the case involving Mr. Siaga.
You mean the settlement?
Yes, regarding the settlement.
I don't remember the
You
term.
used the term. You said that the court had fouled up. Was that it?
No, well, I thought that the lawyers and the court fouled up.
The lawyers and the courts fouled up.
Yes, because
Right?
there's no doubt that Mr. Siaga is
But now Mr. Siaga is going to have to bear the cost of that foul up.
There's no doubt about that much. No, it's a fact.
But this is injustice.
Well, to Mr. Siaga. Because he and Neville Blythe, from when you read, and I'm only speaking of the judgment of the Privy Council.
Yes.
There's no doubt that there was an understanding between Neville Blythe for Western Broadcasting and Mr. Siaga that compensation would be paid to Mr. Siaga.
Yes.
And that $20 million or $17 million worth of advertisement would also be given to him
Uh-huh.
to use as he sees fit.
Uh-huh.
And now to hear that all of that has fallen apart because the lawyers failed to tie up the loose ends and the courts affirm that there was a settlement when there was none. Mr. Siaga is going to be, affected in a very negative way.
But, Mr. Chuck, if you and I come to an agreement that we should do 1, 2, and 3,
Yes.
we subsequently find that there are issues 4 and 5 which we did not discuss,
Yes.
right? Does the failure to reach a settlement on 4 and 5 necessarily invalidate the settlement reached on 1, 2, and 3?
Well, you see, Mutty, this is exactly what maybe the local courts were saying, that maybe you've reached settlements on 1, 2, and 3.
Uh-huh.
But it appeared that 4 and 5 were still live issues that needed to be dealt with.
Yeah, fine.
You see, no, but yes, I this is something, Mutty, that the lawyers will have to work out.
Uh-huh.
That in fact, the $3 million Mr. Siaga should keep. Because there's no doubt in my mind that that was agreed.
Uh-huh.
And also even the 17 million advertisement.
But of course, if no agreement has been reached,
Yes,
then the libel action is still alive.
that is correct.
Uh-huh.
That is correct.
Well,
So, they need to work that thing out.
Yes,
Again,
and-
it's just that I'm saying, Mutty, that based on what I saw and read, it appeared that there was really no concluded settlement.
yes.
Fine? And the Privy Council so stated.
Uh-huh.
But, Mutty, I just feel that it is important for us in Jamaica to appreciate that, we need to tie up not only loose ends in cases, but loose ends in the governance of this country.
Yes.
And that is why when you see things are falling apart in the schools, in the hospitals, on the roads,
Yes.
everywhere, you ask who is at fault. And nobody...
We need to hold up our heroes and sheroes to our people, sir.
We need much...
That is what needs to be done.
And, I would like to find out, Martin, and one of the reasons I brought it to your attention, is this a new word? Is this something that is being used?
I
The
have
term
never
shira?
heard it before. But,
Let us hear from your listeners.
one
if they've ever heard of that
one
word.
is always open to learning. Thank you very much.
All the best to you.
All the best to you. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello? 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 No. Let's go somewhere else.
Hello?
Hello, yes?
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Mr. Tweed.
Eh?
Mr.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Something is wrong with the line.
Yes, I think. But you're not listening to the line. You see, you're listening to the radio. That's your problem. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
When you send a child to school, you see?
When what?
You send your child to school, and a bigger boy asked for his lunch money, threw a stone, cut him in his face. He went to the doctor and got stitches. What do you think that parent should do?
Well, that parent should... That happened to you?
A friend of mine, she's away, but her son goes to a prominent high school.
Yes.
Don't want to call the name.
Yes.
The child, a bigger boy, asked him for his lunch money. He did not give him. Now he has a cut in his forehead, and he got 3 stitches. The father went to school, and the security said he could not point out the other child who did it. And he went.
He could not point out the other child?
Yes.
Oh.
He went to the police station, and they said they will investigate.
Why could he not point out the other child?
I don't know. Maybe he's afraid to do it.
Maybe he's afraid.
Yes.
Well, it isn't going to get anywhere unless that other boy can somehow be pointed out.
Can you imagine? You send your child to school and
Yes.
because somebody wants to take his lunch money,
Yes.
sir?
But then I tell you something, Mom. What is the lesson that your boy is going to learn now? Eh?
You tell me what. And the
Well-
child is so quiet. He's a very quiet child. He don't know how to fight. He have to go learn to defend himself.
Well, there you are.
I recommend the parent to send him to do karate or something, but next thing you hear them carry on.
No, Mom, something has to be done about all this. You know?
She asked me to go to school, so I am going there to find out from the principal what is going to be done.
But you see, the problem is that he has got to identify the boy who did this to him.
I don't.
And if that boy can create a situation where everybody is afraid to identify him,
Yes.
then he can commit murder and get away with it.
Exactly.
You know?
Then again, Mr. Perkins, you have some land in the country. You plant oranges. They steal all the oranges. You can't even get any. And turn on cook with a fence post. You tell me no.
They cook with use the fence post to
Yes,
cook.
because it rots from the bottom. So what they do is when they want to cook, some young men, you know,
Yes.
take the fence post and cook. Jesus, Mr. Perkins, what is happening in this country? You tell me, young men don't have anything to do, lean up on bicycle, and all them can do is thief up your things and when don't take your fence post and cook with it.
Let me tell you something, Mom. The country is rotting. The country needs leadership.
Look here,
Right.
I don't even think prayers can bring them back. Hamas, I got most lucky me is now. Because me pray till me sick. And me know enough people will say them prayers. You tell me no. What? It look like them have to send like two soldiers to school them. And even in the country, when you go to the police, by the time the police come, the guys who pick the orange gun, if you can look at a coconut tree and cut it down, look how long a coconut tree takes to grow and bear, just to reach the coconut. Eh?
Yes. Well, the country is being destroyed.
Jesus.
Right?
Something wrong. Something is definitely wrong.
And the government does not seem to have an idea what to do about
Look
it.
here. My best regards to Mrs. Portia Simpson-Miller, you know.
Yes.
But she can manage. She can manage these people.
You don't think that she's a shero?
Look here, man.
Eh?
Let me tell you something. You see, the former Prime Minister, him leave the worst part of it, the dirty end of the stick to she can't manage. And if she say, make me let go some of them, tell Master God, me tell you, say, them kill her, you hear me? Oh. A gunshot reach her, she don't even know where it come from.
Who is that?
If this Prime Minister let go plenty of them on the side, say she going to get rid of some of them going to get rid of she.
Well, look here, Mom. I hope that it doesn't come to that, you know. I hope it does not come to any such thing.
Yeah, we all hope it don't come to that. But you see where this country, in school, a boy going to touch a teacher and about a miss your fat, and she can't say nothing. Eh? You look goody, all them things there. And don't matter talk about parents, because some of them parents cannot speak to them. Can't speak to them.
Yes, well, it's the culture of the country, Mom.
Cannot speak to
and
them.
it is no point blaming parents for
Mr.
this.
Perkins, you see, like how me vex now, me can't even talk to you. You see, one day when I'm in a good mood, I'm going to call you.
Okay. Okay, all the best to you. Okay, hello?
Hello, Mr. Perkins.
Yes.
Good morning to you.
Morning.
First of all, yes. First of all, you have to tell us when you're going to have...
we have to do what?
You're going to have to inform your listeners when you're having on a political message, a political ad being ran. Because I listened to you with Mr. Chuck for quite a while there, with his political message. But, just give us a heads up.
What?
So that at least we can, you must give us a heads up.
Give us a what?
When you're going to run a heads up.
Yes.
When you're going to run a political ad, from these politicians on your program. Now, let's go to the...
Well, I don't follow that.
You have these politicians on
Yes, but hold on a little bit. The fact that somebody is a politician does not necessarily mean that what he says is nonsense. Right? Now, examine what Mr. Chuck said and tell me what of it you found to be nonsensical.
Well,
or otherwise untrue.
Well, it's not necessarily a case of nonsense.
It's what?
Or the veracity. It's not necessarily a case of nonsense or the veracity of what he says.
Yes, what is the problem then?
What is the problem is that these statements from politicians from whatever are usually very self-serving. They're not objectively discussed.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what is it that Mr. Chuck said that falls into this category?
Well,
because my job, hold on a little bit. I am here to carry on the discussion with him, as I'm carrying on this one with you. And if Mr. Chuck says something which I believe to be false, I'm going to raise the issue with him. Right?
I hear you. Let's
go on. So what is the problem?
Let's go on to what I really call you about.
Yes.
First thing is about, in fact, the second thing I want to talk to you is about the Caribbean. Now, sir, you
is what?
Rubbished.
The second
you rubbished the Superintendent Miller. You gave him a hard time.
Superintendent Miller.
I hope that is correct.
I think his name is Hewitt.
The gentleman.
But I don't think I gave him a hard time.
Yeah, you pretty much almost called him an idiot.
I did?
Because
no, I never did that.
Yes.
No, I didn't do that.
Because you was pouring scorn on a report he did about gunmen running through the Maypen Cemetery. You remember that incident?
Yes. I don't remember
Now,
calling him an idiot, though. I don't think I did any such
well,
thing.
you challenge the veracity of the
All
report
right.
that he
What's
gave.
wrong with that?
And which you pretty much are saying the man is an idiot, the man is a liar.
No, I didn't say that. Anyway, make
Well,
the point.
the next point is, isn't it interesting that in less than 2 weeks, in the same vicinity, that man, along with some others who were traveling in the taxi, was gunned down right near to the Maypen Cemetery.
Well,
with
and
here
also, hold on just a moment. Hold on just a moment.
Yeah.
Sir. Do you know that area?
Yes.
The Maypen Cemetery runs quite some distance along the Spanish Town Road.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, what is the point now? Are you saying that these men...
The point is... Go ahead, what you were going to say.
Hello?
Yeah, you're going to ask me. Yeah. All right, let me go ahead then. Yes. The point is that in the same... You use all of that energy in a country that has seen so many people murdered unsolved, and where gunmen, heavily armed, roam with impunity, that the only thing you could see...
Look here, sir.
Productive
Hold on then. Will you hold on for me? Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. The real issue... Yes, Mr. Perkins. The real issue here is you have to stop playing political games with a serious issue as crime.
What is the political game and what is the basis upon which you say that I... hold on. Will you listen? On what basis do you say that I am playing political games?
You implied, you said it, that the reason, you implied that the superintendent was somehow making up that story to create a ruse to go into Tivoli Gardens.
I never said that.
Election pending.
I never said any such thing.
We're not idiots.
I did not say that.
Because you know you would be kicked. You could not.
I choose my words. I choose my words very carefully. I did not say that.
Because you don't want to be dragged into court. But
What?
you're using subliminal language.
I was not. What I said, sir. What I questioned what the superintendent had said.
Superintendent.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I questioned in particular the suggestion that these men were the police had information that these men were going to be attacking Rima. They were armed, heavily armed, or armed with what is it?
The
What is
choice
the word?
weapon, which is the M16.
High-powered weapons.
The choice weapon.
Right.
The M16.
Yes. The police put a block on their route to Rima.
The police tried
Right?
to intercept
And
them.
then allowed them to turn around, go back through the Maypen Cemetery into Tivoli Gardens with their high-powered weapons. Is that credible?
And so you
Do you find that credible?
very, very, very much so.
You find it very much so.
Are you very, very credible? And
Well,
are you-
I don't know, sir.
and
I am sorry to say so, but you must be half-witted. Right?
But I find that very credible, just like how in broad daylight.
Well, I don't find it
those
credible,
gunmen
sir.
With M16.
I don't find it credible, sir, that the police would allow men, that the police would allow 30 men, well, whether 30 men, which later became 50 men, to walk back into Tivoli Gardens bearing high-powered weapons, right? Which is illegal. It is illegal for them to be in possession of those weapons, right?
Just like the
In
one
all
that
probability,
killed that
in
man.
all probability, those weapons were they had no license to hold those guns, right?
Just like the one that killed that
And
in the car.
the police would be watching them or be aware that they were committing a crime or committing crimes and just leaving them to go freely and commit their crimes? Why could they not have called in reinforcements, blocked their way back to Tivoli Gardens in the same way that they blocked their way into Rima? Surround them and capture them and take the weapons away and all that and charge them as they should have been charged. Why not?
Something, Mr. Perkins?
Yes?
When were you police? When did you graduate from the police academy?
One doesn't have to graduate from a police academy to have common sense, sir.
But you're sitting on your talent. You seem to be a very
anyway, you on that ground you're talking nonsense, right?
Let's go to the second argument.
Yes.
Now we are talking about Caribbean unity through the CSME, the Caribbean Court of Justice, etc.
Oh, you've left Tivoli Gardens.
Right, we are now here. We were talking about another
issue
you have
run
off your mouth on and thrown cold water on.
I've been thrown cold water on what?
You have fought. You have disparaged the notion of any Caribbean
I have done what, sir?
And you
what
have disparaged.
I have disparaged?
Cold water.
What do you mean by disparaged?
You have rubbished the idea. You have poured scorn over it.
Are you by any chance trying to use the word disparage?
Listen, come right back here. No.
What do you mean that I have disparaged something?
Yes.
Oh, so that's what you mean by disparaged.
Now, can we go on? Can we go on?
Yes,
now,
sir.
Mr.
May I ask
Golden,
you, what is your university, sir?
Listen, let's get back to reality.
Aren't you a university student or professor or something?
I've waited for quite a while to talk to you, and my time is running out as yours is.
I'm sorry to have disparaged you in that way, sir.
Listen,
I'm sorry.
Let's talk.
Yes.
Now, we had a matter here of the natural gas that was promised in a memorandum of understanding between Trinidad and Jamaica.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that I heard from you was that you were one of those who were hallelujah, praise the Lord that this thing went on the ground, didn't get off to it.
No, sir, that is not true.
You were.
That
you were in glee.
That is not true, sir.
So you were not in glee.
I was not in what?
On the issue.
I was not in what?
You were not in glee. Glee. You were not glee.
No, I don't think that is so. And I challenge you, sir. The tapes of the programs are available from the station. What?
That is exactly where I get to listen to it.
Yes.
I listen to it. I listen to the recorded.
Yes.
Not the live version, because I'm in my office usually then.
And you have a recording of it?
I have the recording of it, of course.
Oh, good. Well, I'm prepared to bet you, sir, some money that you cannot.
No, but while you are on here, you are saying you are not happy. You are in solidarity with our country.
With our country?
In an unfortunate situation. With our country being in an unfortunate situation where
I challenge you. I challenge you to produce the tape in which you heard me expressing glee at the failure of that arrangement.
Let me say something that a lot of you folks out there miss with what happened with that agreement. And I always ask you this question. Is there an issue
What?
that is of national is there an issue that is of national importance to us as a country there, where we should all be unified in dealing with outside forces and countries and so on? Is there any?
We have to take a break, sir. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Perkins. Do you know why that oil agreement collapsed?
Why, sir?
Do you know?
Do you know?
Because of the attitude of people like yourself. And let me explain. Because let me give you this. Let me give you an elaboration of
so you're not even a good spinner.
Listen.
You're wasting time, And in the process, I'm disparaging a number of people who are holding on, waiting to get on to say something. And, I'm sure that a lot of them, that they would probably have found more intelligent things to say than you were saying.
Let me elaborate, because I'm not going to stay long with you. Why I say this, Perkins, you were one, along with other voices of naysayers, who have undermined the whole regional integration process with the other islands.
I have done?
And that has... yes. You didn't hear me?
What have I done in the other islands that have had this effect?
You have undermined it with your constant berating the Caribbean court and
disparaging the Caribbean court.
And listen.
You think that I have disparaged the Caribbean court?
You have certainly done that.
Is that so? All right, sir. I tell you what, I'm awfully sorry. I have a lot of people holding on, We can talk another time. Hello?
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Perkins.
Morning, sir. I'm sorry to have disparaged you by having you waiting.
By having that man talk so much thing from foreign that you claim is some former minister's son.
Oh, is he? No,
yeah, but I hear you say that one time. And yes, you said that man trying to defend the indefensible. Because when you talk about spin, that one is not a good spinner.
No, he is.
But you see, when I was in school, Mr.
He sounds like something on the West Indies team.
When I was in school, I had two boys who fight 3 times for one day during the break,
Oh, is that so?
And you know why they fought? One claimed he was a better spin bowler than the other one. And the other one said, why you mean you fling spin? That means he wasn't turning his arm, he was flinging.
Yes.
And when you talk about fling spin, you know who fall perfectly into that category?
Who is that?
Your friend Mr. Latouche.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, man, he went come the other day to come spin, but he was choking. A lady polish it good and proper. Because when you ask Mr. Latouche why he leave the Labour Party, he ain't tell you about him, usually tell you about mangoes in chicken nest. And say, well, I'm family of PNP, and he was the only one black sheep in return. But when Mr. Latouche was the GLP caretaker down in Portland, when the Labour right then demonstrated against Mr. Latouche, they say Mr. Latouche full up the delegate list with him family. That means that Mr. Latouche deserving PNP family as GLP delegates.
Anyway, you had something else to say, I'm sure.
All right, yeah, man. We have some more important things to deal with. Anyhow, Mr. Chuck was telling you about those students from KC that were involved in some violence, and when he traveled on the road and saw how they were tired, he was ashamed. Well, when I was going KC, we couldn't behave as though these students behaving with knife and things of the sort.
You were there in Bishop Gibson's time?
No, man, I was there with Mr. Chuck, but Mr. Chuck was my senior. When I was in Fort Farm, Mr. Chuck was in upper 6.
Is that so?
Yeah, man. So I know Mr. Chuck good. But you see, what is going on at Kingston Technical? It is not surprising because the other day I saw in the paper whereby 2 students of Kingston Technical got Jamaica scholarship. 2 top scholarships, but in the same article it stated that 83% of the students that graduated from that school were functionally illiterate.
were functionally illiterate?
Yeah, man. In terms
Where was this?
numeracy and literacy, they
Where was this? Where did you see this?
I saw that in the media about a month ago.
What
In
medium?
either the Glean or the Observer.
What medium did you see it in?
Either the Glean or the Observer. I won't be able to tell you which one of them. But they were highlighting the student that got the Jamaican scholarship, stating that he was from a poor background, and in terms of the violence, so he had to make great sacrifice in order to study and in order to get high grades.
What percentage of them?
83% of them were functionally illiterate from that same school.
You mean
that after graduating class?
83%?
Yeah.
Were functionally illiterate?
Yeah, man.
I find that difficult to believe, sir.
I don't find it difficult, because you have students who go to school in first form and they can read all right. Then in terms of moving from the common entrance to everybody going into a high school, because only 3% of the students don't go to high school now, and because they don't have enough space. If they had enough school space, then every student would be going to high school, whether they can read all right. But that is the politics of the PNP, because when election come, they go there and tell them about how many children they provide with high school education, but it is not quality education. So we're churning out a high rate of illiterates out of the school. In some of the school, you have even set up some remedial class in order to teach them to read and write.
I rather doubt that the level of illiteracy in a school like Kingston Tech could be as high as that.
All right, I'm going to look for that paper. When I find it, I'll tell you whether I Glean or the Observer, the date and which it was printed.
Yes.
So that is what we have for education. And then you see, it could have stemmed from Mr. Peter Phillips' statement that the law is not a shackle.
Mr. what?
Dr. Phillips' statement that the law is not a shackle.
Uh-huh.
So everybody...
No, Dr. Phillips didn't say that.
Huh?
That was Mr. Patterson.
Oh, Mr. Patterson. Yeah, man. Sorry about Dr. Phillips. Mr. Patterson.
Yes.
So Mr. Patterson would be setting the example by such uttering why you have such breakdown of indiscipline in the schools where students walk around with piece of cutlass and gun and all kind of things, and students and teachers afraid of them. So even when him set up the round table down a conference center and talk about attitudes and values, there has been no turnaround. You agree that?
Yes, I think things have gotten worse.
Yeah, man, things have got worse. But Mr. Perkins, right now, you look like Sister P, Mr. Pickersgill won't stay good, Because if Mr. Pickersgill reading of cricket is similar to politics, then it is not looking good for the PNP.
Oh.
Because Mr. Pickersgill said that the PNP, the staging of the World Cup has given them the bounce and revived the fortune of the PNP.
Yes.
And I tell you how they were depending on the West Indies to be victorious, so that in the U4 they could go out with a great celebration. And the people wouldn't think about the money that has been wasted, not properly spent for the staging of this World Cup. And West Indies get 2 beaten already. And if they listen to what Mr. Lara said, look like they're not going to reach the semi-final, because even before the Australian game, Lara said that Australia had 11 match winners.
Yes.
But he couldn't really state how many match winners the West Indies had. And I hear a man tell you he was betting $10,000 against $1 that the West Indies would lose to Australia.
Anyway, sir, I have to run. We have a lot of people holding on at very little time.
Anyway, all right, I'll link you next week, because I have some more important things to deal with.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. I think people, well, yes, the people have been so disparaged that they that they hung up. Okay. Do we have anybody coming back? Okay, that person is what is he, a hero or a shiro? A shiro. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good morning to you, Mom.
Hi, Mr. Perkins.
How are you? How you do?
I'm not bad, sir.
Eh?
I'm not too bad at all.
Why?
Oh, because you have helped me and allowed my kids to stay in school.
Yeah.
And you put food on my table.
I did what?
You put food on my table, Mr. Perkins.
I put food on your table?
Yes.
Oh? How?
I'm the lady from Mandeville.
Oh.
Yes.
You mean a lot of generous people have contributed?
Yes, sir.
No, you must make good use of that money.
Oh, my God.
Don't squander it.
Not at all, sir. Not at all, sir.
Okay.
I allowed the kids stay in school, and, I'm still out there looking to get something to do.
Uh-huh.
So, what I want to ask you, if you know anybody, maybe like in and around Mandeville also, who could perhaps help me to get me a job.
Help you to get a job?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. Well, I don't know offhand, but if there is anybody listening who can,
yes, sir,
who has a job to offer you,
okay. And I want to give you thanks and praise, Mr. Perkins,
yes,
because without you, I don't know.
Well, the best thanks that you could give,
yes, sir,
is to make good use of those funds.
Oh, yes. Oh,
and,
yes. Oh, yes.
If you could put away some of it.
Yes, sir.
In,
Did you know that one of the gentlemen who called said me to take out an account?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins, I never had one.
Yes.
And he said,
and make sure that you try and get. Well, I tell you something.
Yes, sir.
If you could put it in a way that you need some financial advice on this.
Yes, sir.
A way that could have it earning something for you.
Yes,
right?
Sir.
Maybe you could buy some government paper, and so be able to ensure the education of those children of yours?
Yes, sir.
You want to do that, eh?
Yes, sir.
All right?
Yes, sir.
But you need some good advice, some sound advice.
Okay, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Anyway, I have to go now.
Okay, sir.
It's time for the news, and it's nice hearing from you. Okay? Time for the news. We'll be back here in about 20 minutes. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. We're back online, and we are going now to talk to our heroes and shearers. Hello? Hello?
Yes, hello. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
I am barely hearing you.
You can hardly hear me.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me speak about as low as I possibly.
It's getting better now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What I want is in respect to the school, the things that are going on in the schools.
Yes.
I don't know if it's if I am able to make any comment on that if it's possible.
But why can't you make a comment on it?
No, I don't know. I just don't know what basically I could not make comment on. The thing is, the other day I saw on the news where these students were locked out.
Hello?
Yes, I said the other day I saw on the news where these students were locked from entering into the school.
Yes.
And someone from the Ministry of Education was basically condemning, based on the statement that was made, condemning what the administration did. You mean this was the one where they came dressed other than where the students were demonstrating?
Yes.
Yes. And then the lady from the Ministry of Education was more or less condemning what was done.
Yes.
Now, I don't know. This is just my opinion. I mean, the thing is, when these students grow to be men and women and they have to go out there to work, and the companies are, that they will have to go to work, will have their rules and their policies.
Yes. Suppose some of them join the police force.
Well.
Suppose others join the army.
Well.
Right?
Yes. That's my point is just because of what the lady.
But in any event,
yes.
In any event, sir, it's not just a matter of what you wear.
You're right.
Right? It is a matter of your attitude.
Exactly.
To rules and to laws.
Yes.
Right? if you think that you can, the rule doesn't matter. You can do what you like, whatever the rule is. Then that is going to lead to disorder, to chaos,
Right.
to anarchy.
Exactly.
Eh?
Yes, but that is why this is where I really have the problem with the lady from the Ministry of Education coming out and basically condemning the decision of the school. I mean, when I used to go to school, if we were late, we were locked out. All right, and the school have its uniform policies that they should wear proper uniform.
Yes.
And those shoes that I saw them parading over the media. Those shoes are more expensive than the standard shoe that they're supposed to be wearing to school. Now, since that, see what we have had happen in the schools. We have fighting in the schools and that kind of story because they basically seem to have gotten the go-ahead to do whatever they feel like doing. You know, so I really think that the government should...
You know, so what you're seeing there, you know,
yes, sir,
is an index of how this society is rotting.
Exactly, sir. I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you.
And, you know, Jamaica has become a factory, turning out monsters. Right? The head of the army said recently that it was no use focusing on the gunmen and the murderers while you ignored the factory that was producing them and that remained open. Right? We are taking young people who could have been wonderful achievers and turning them into criminal types. Hold on just a moment. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, basically that's what I really wanted to touch on, and this, the fact that this country, as you said before, is in a state that they are manufacturing and producing the evil that we are actually seeing at this point.
Yes.
And I think like I said, I was very disappointed when I saw this lady came out, and it's as if she was trying to get some airplay and some sort of favoritism, in respect to the fact that discipline, if you do not teach them from that age, and for them to, uphold the principles and the standards, when they get out there, by the time they get to men and women, we have a problem. You cannot correct it anymore. So that's the whole point.
Yes.
And, in addition to that, I'm just, wondering if the people of this country, if they have not woken up as yet, to think that when this next election comes, that they're going to put back this PNP government in power. That's basically what I want to tell you.
I don't know, sir. I don't know. Depends on what they want.
I guess, I guess if they really want to see some sort of a growth or development, because some people seem to have the opinion because of the highways that have been built or restructured or refurbished, that is enough points to put these people back in power.
Yes.
But anyway, that's my contribution that I really want to make. And
All right, sir.
Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. All the best to you. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Perkins.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I've talked in a long time.
Yes, indeed. You deserted me, man. Eh?
I'm trying to get some okay from you because Hillary Clinton is gonna win.
The what? Hillary Clinton.
Mrs. Clinton, she's gonna win the presidency. So
You really think so?
She's gonna win. No, it's gonna be Hillary.
I beg your pardon?
I know. I'm still dreaming about her.
Oh, I see. You've had a dream.
You know when I tell you, remember the first time I tell you, Mr. Perkins, 1999, that Bush gonna win and Hillary Clinton gonna win. Remember I told you about the 1999?
Yes.
So this time, so you think you think it's okay to go up to her office and tell her because I want her to help me save Jamaica, because Jamaica worth saving.
So you haven't had any dreams about Jamaica?
I dream in Jamaica all the time, just about every night. I was in my beautiful spot. This is my favorite spot in Jamaica up to last night. Macon Cemetery, that's my favorite spot.
So who is going to win the Jamaican election?
We're going to win. Because I remember I tell you last year, we're going to win. Last year, this time I tell you, we're going to win. And you asked me by how much money that's by 75%.
So who was it?
The PNP going to win.
The PNP is going to win.
The Simpson is not from God. The PNP is going to win, but the Portia Simpson is not the true leader from God. And I don't know what's going to happen, but she's not from God. I think she just talk about stuff and just go away and give it to Mr. Seymour Mullins.
I see. But he's
Mr. Seymour Mullins, he's retired.
Hello? Okay, sorry, we seem to have lost him.
Mr. Perkins.
I beg your pardon?
I said Mr. Seymour Mullins retired. He was ambassador up here in Washington, D.C. to see all
Yes, I know.
Still working in government.
And he has retired.
Well, tell him to come out of retirement. Nothing's wrong with him. Retirement is for the bird. Come out of retirement and make Portia Simpson bring him the key.
All right, sir, I'll try and get a message to him. All right, all the best. Nice hearing from you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Good. Okay, hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Perkins. I just want to call and make two comments. Gentlemen, one irregular caller that talked about the school system in Jamaica. I think this
talked about what?
The school in Kingston that he said. I think 70% of the people are
illiterate. Yes.
I believe that. I believe that.
You believe it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I was actually, when I left Jamaica, I was actually a casualty of that. Luckily, I came here at the age where I was able to advance myself.
How old were you when you left Jamaica?
When I left Jamaica, I was 15 years old.
How old?
15.
15?
Yes.
And you were illiterate?
Exactly.
You couldn't read?
When I came here, I was at about 4th grade level of reading. And a lot of the kids in that school I went to, I'm not going to call the name of the school, was at my level. You know, what it is, if you leave behind in Jamaica, in a lot of school system in Jamaica, especially in rural Jamaica, if you just left behind an inch, say when you were, say, 8, 9, that's it for you. You're written off. No one is going to pay you attention because training, money, all that stuff is not there. I don't think that, and I don't think that I've been through over the year. I think, if anything, that probably I've been improved. I think over the years, when I come back to Jamaica and look at Jamaica, nothing has been done with education in Jamaica to improve it. I think in the 70s, if anything, there was some improvement in certain areas, but today I don't think any improvement has been done.
Yes.
One point I want to stress, though, since you're actually a journalist and respectable journalist, and I think you're doing a great job with this show. When I read the paper in Jamaica, I read about the budget, the new budget that's going to be telling in Parliament. I realize one problem in Jamaica is the way how the media put things. The people in Jamaica, when I problem in Jamaica, let me say, you have the very bright, and you have a lot of people who just barely can read, and then you have some people who cannot read.
Yes.
However, the way these newspapers write these articles, a lot of people don't understand them. When I look at the budget, the article for both newspapers I looked at for the budget, I have some experience in finance, and I don't even understand it myself. If you're going to write a newspaper, for instance, the Gleaner, I know you associate with this because the station is part of it. I'm not bashing the Gleaner. I think it's a very good paper. But if you're going to write an article on the budget, it's very simple. You get a pie chart, and you point out where the money is going. What percentage is going here, what percentage is going there, and how much is going there. The way this article is written, did you have a chance to read it?
Yes, which one is that? The one in the Gleaner?
Yeah, the one in the Gleaner.
No, I missed that one. No, I read the one in the Observer.
I read both of them, and both of them, to me, the ordinary Joe on the street is not going to understand what's going on. Because they talked about They talked about amortization. They talked about, who cares about that? A regular guy in the street, does he know what amortization mean? Come on.
Well,
you know, the media in Jamaica, all the people, they're the ears, and they're the ears, eyes for these people, and they're the one have to break it down for the people to understand what's going on. It's very, 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 very important, because if people understand what's going on, in the day, they are going to make the same mistake again. Do you get me?
Yes, I follow you.
Yeah, and I think because you probably know people write these articles, if you can probably when you go to this function, let them know that, look, yes, I mean it's good, it's a good article, but a lot of people don't understand these articles. If you take up a U.S. paper, for example, and you read the same article, even in New York Times, the article, and I read the New York Times a lot, the same article will be much more simple and to understand. Do you get me?
Yes, I hear you.
And I think that's a problem, because if people don't understand what's going on...
Yes. Well, so there's a tendency for some people to believe that the more complex and difficult you make the thing, is the more you're likely to be thought highly intelligent and
it's not so.
And bright and so on,
I was listening to your program, the CEO, or some guy, the president for Grace Kennedy came on, and literally he said, which is true, a lot of companies, large organizations in the United States, when they put in a protocols or a plan or whatever it is, they make it very simple as possible for people to understand.
Yes.
Because it doesn't make no sense. It doesn't make any sense to put out an article or anything. Even if you are, say, for example, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, if she have a plan on the table, make it simple so that people can understand what's going on.
Yes.
And I think that's very, 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 very,
but of
very
course,
important.
if you want to fool the people, you don't want to make it simple so that they can understand.
There you go.
The more they understand, the less you're likely to succeed.
Just like this money, she said back to with an emissary. Most people in Jamaica don't understand what emissary means. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, talk to the people so that people can understand.
Marco, I believe, sir, that that people, the language I hear people using nowadays, the things they're saying and some of the ideas that they're expressing, I think that there are changes that are occurring, Not necessarily because of the educational system.
Because of communication, right?
Because of communication.
Right.
I
do feel that way too. I feel that way.
And a lot of it is media inspired.
Right. And some of it is good, and some of it is good, and some of it is also bad.
Well, but there's a lot of discussion going on, and a lot of ideas are being.
But I just ask you one favor. If I know you're in that industry. If you can put our words out there that, especially in the election time around, if you write these articles, if you just can make the people, break it down for the people. Please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Mom.
Mr. Perkins, I'm in agreement with the call that I just called regarding the reporting of the budget in the Gleno. I've been in accounting and finance for the past...
Would you speak up a bit for me?
I've been in accounting and finance for the past 15 years.
Yes.
And this bit of reporting that the Gleno put down, no one could understand it. I was looking at it with my husband, we were discussing it. It was difficult to understand. I think this is a disguise for persons who are not familiar with this type of information.
They probably are not, yes.
It is. It is. That is what it is. They could have done this thing in a table format to make it a little bit more easier for persons. That is quite a possibility. And the grammar and the style of the writing, it's just totally off.
Is that so?
It is. It is.
Well.
It is terrible. Sometimes I pick up the newspaper and You know, I'm tempted to call the editor to find out if some of these documents were edited.
Yes.
The grammar, the sentence construction, it's just poor, very poor.
Yes.
And if they're supposed to be teaching the nation, it leaves much to be desired.
Well, it's a problem in media in Jamaica.
It is. It's something that needs to be looked at.
Yes.
And corrective measures be taken. You know, the presentation of that, the headline that was there, it grabs your attention, but when you start to read, you were totally lost.
Yes.
You were totally lost.
I haven't read the story, so I can't really comment on it.
Okay.
You know, I came down a little late this morning and had some problems, you know, but...
I see. But the Gleaner needs to look at it and see how best they can represent it for the general population to understand what is happening in the country. You know, and they barely mentioned that education got less allocation for the budget. And this is something that our country needs to bump up on. We need more educated persons in this country. We need more and better education. And better
But I'm not sure that spending more money on education is necessarily going to produce better education. Right? As it is, they're spending a fair amount, and from the reports that we hear, are turning out a lot of illiterates. Right?
Absolutely.
Now, something is seriously wrong there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Where the money, the bulk of the money is going in housing and transportation and Ministry of Works.
I mean, it's one thing for young people to grow up illiterate because they didn't have the opportunity of going to school. It's another thing for them to have the opportunity, the expense of going to school, and funded a lot of the opportunity funded by government budget, right? And then they come out of school uneducated?
Well, this is what has been happening. But our teachers are leaving because the money isn't there to pay them. Well, not that the money isn't there, but they are not allocating the money in that respect. And our teachers are leaving. The more educated persons are leaving, so the schools are left with teachers who are untrained.
Well, I tell you something. If $2 billion would get you good teachers, it's no use spending $1 billion to get bad teachers. You know, you're throwing that $1 billion away.
But that is what is happening now, Mr. Perkins.
Well,
that is what is happening now.
Yes.
And we need a reform of our educational system, or people are deliberately being kept in the dark. Because I don't. It's just for votes. When I looked at the budget this morning, it was just for votes. That's what I'm seeing. The areas that need the attention are not the areas that got increased in expenditure.
But are the areas on which that got the attention areas that will be attractive to the voters?
Absolutely.
Like what?
The roads, housing. Those are areas that persons are on the TV every day complaining about. Those are the areas that you will physically see.
So what they're going to do is spend a lot of money doing a kind of Samphai fix-up of the roads, and then 6 months after the election, the potholes will be all back there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly it. You see, the way it is presented, a lot of persons are not looking at it and analyzing why has this area increased?
Yes.
Why has that area decreased? You know, and it is, Mr. Perkins, I am a young person. I voted once, and I will be voting again. But, you know, I'm really hoping that my vote will count and will make a difference. You know, because this country is really going on a path of destruction.
Yes, it's really going down, Mom. Going down and down and down. Well, and I mean, to when you look at what is going on in the schools, which people are talking a lot about now, when you look at the crime, I mean, if the government hasn't got any idea what to do about these things, why is it even seeking office? Are they seeking office in order to do good for the people of Jamaica, or are they seeking it for some private purpose?
This budget on security went down, so obviously they have no intention of fixing the crime situation in Jamaica.
Yes, well,
that went down, and the budget on education went down. Those are two significant areas. Those are two of our largest problems.
Yes.
And those the allocation for those areas went down. That to me is speaking. It's saying a lot, and I'm not sure if the average Jamaican has understood what that report in the Gleaner was trying to say this morning. And we need to look at that. We need to look at the areas that the expenses they have increased and where they have decreased.
Yes.
In the paper this morning, in Trenchtown.
The what?
In the crime scene where persons were killed yesterday. I mean,
would you speak up a bit for me?
No, I'm saying that our crime rate has been going up. It has been escalating. It has been escalating. And despite what they have been saying that, yes, things have gone down and so on, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. You know, and we need to look at the areas that will develop the nation, develop the people, and will take us to the next level.
Well, you know, the government seems to believe that if it can put out nice figures, you know, attractive figures, and optimistic, it can create optimism, and everything will be all right thereafter.
Well, Mr. Perkins, I know that didn't do it, but anyhow, I have to go because my other phone is ringing.
All right, thank you very much. All the best to you. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I'm waiting on Mr. Perkins.
I am Perkins.
Oh, good day to you, sir.
Good day to you, too.
I have two issues I want to highlight, really. And it is in regards to the government, sir. Now, we are wondering why the condition in this island is as such. But let me tell you something, sir. I am 60-odd years old.
You know what?
60-odd years old. And I'm having some experience here, sir, with the government, sir. We are classified as one in the top of the bandulo of the world, country of the bandulo of the world. One of the things that breed these things, now I have a problem here. Last year, I had a little thing, sir. I don't work from 1978. I haven't been employed. But, you know, I create a little thing for myself here and there. And I came across some funds and I put it in my little investment thing, sir. You know that they take out income tax from before you can get your own.
Yes.
And Mr. Perkins, from last year, October, I made an application for exemption from tax and for my refund, sir. And from October last year, I have been calling, visit. Now, Mr. P, what could happen that it takes 5 months gone and they can't refund me the little money, sir?
Well,
you Mr. P?
They're in no hurry to refund it, sir.
So they're using the money, they invest people money, sir.
Yes.
So when them don't know and them talk about corruption and this and that, I tell them, you know, sir, this is what breed banduloism and corruption.
Yes, well.
Because, sir, if I did know somebody who I could have get $1,000, sir, I'd have give them and get my money long time. Because the system stinks. And when you go down there, your call, so they talk to you so nice. But nothing is happening. Now we are in the computer era, sir. When things they should be able to expedite things. So why it takes 5 months going on to 6 months now, sir, and I can't get that little money?
Well, good question.
Okay, I just want people of Jamaica to know. Another issue I have, sir.
Quickly.
Hello?
Quickly.
This is with the Administrator General, sir. From last year, September, my father died and he didn't make any will. His wife died and they didn't make any will. My name was published along with my brother in the foreign newspaper, the 1st of February and the 28th of May last year. They put my name in the paper. My brother died. Eventually, I get in contact with them through a lawyer. And Sir P, up to now, so they're not cooperating with the lawyer. The lawyer wants a letter from them revoking because they did administration on the place. They took over the place wholly and solely. And was
took over the place? The Administrator General's office?
Yes. Yes, sir, the one Administrator General.
And your father left children?
Well, I am his only surviving child.
You're his only surviving
child? Yes, my brother died, sir. My brother died 2003.
What about his wife?
His wife had children, but not for him. So, one of...
But is she still alive?
Who? The wife?
Yes.
No, she's dead also.
She's dead too?
Yes. So this is why, she had a daughter who was trying more or less to administrate on it, but they turned out...
Hold on 1 minute for me. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Yes, sir. My father's wife died also, and apparently she didn't make a will. So she had a daughter who was administrating on the place, but obviously because she's not my father's child, then they turned her down flatly. When I was contacted, I went down to the Administrator General and I spoke to the case officer. She told me that they have already done administration on the place and that I am to pay $400,000 for some debt tax or something of the sort.
Some what?
Debt tax. Debt tax?
A debt tax?
Yes, to the government.
What is a debt tax?
That is when somebody die for me.
A death tax?
Yes, death tax. I told...
Hold on a little bit. When your father dies,
yeah,
in order to inherit his property, you must pay the government $400,000.
$400,000. That is based on the value of what they put on the place, because they took over the place and was sending valuator and was about to sell it. In my opinion, so the place is undervalued. I took somebody there to do a valuation and they told me that it's undervalued. Anyhow.
Yes, but don't tell them that because they might want to charge you more.
Well, that's what I get to understand finally, sir. But what I'm saying now, Sir P, I had a lawyer and the lawyer wrote to them requesting information, read the money what they collect for rent, and
they've had the place rented out?
Yes, yes.
What kind of business is it? I don't understand
look,
it.
You know, sir, this is it's frustrating. That is why I want to highlight it. You know, I know
no, man, I can't believe this.
Believe me,
that the Administrator General's Department has taken over property. There are surviving relatives.
Yes, sir. This is my problem. And the lawyer, they are frustrating the lawyer. They are not cooperating with the lawyer. There's a case officer. I can give you her name, and I can give you my name, and you can investigate the matter for yourself.
Yes.
From last year until now, we're not reaching anywhere. The lawyer is frustrated. She has to ask me to assist in regards to even a phone call because they won't return a phone call to her. She requests things, they don't put it in writing. They will talk to her on the phone, but they won't put anything in writing. And from last year, so she requests a letter from them to state to the Supreme Court that they are not interested in pursuing the matter anymore. Now that I, as the surviving son, has been found, and they will not do it, sir. I have went down to the Office of Public Defender, and they are on the matter also. I'm not reaching anywhere, sir. The lawyer is not reaching anywhere. So I want to know what is happening in this country, sir.
I would like to know what is happening.
I can give you the history, sir. I can give you the case officer name. I can give you the particular, and I can give you the lawyer name.
Yes. Hold on a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what you do.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask somebody to take this information.
Yes, sir.
And we'll call the Administrator General's department and ask them about it.
And there's something even more interesting, Sir P.
Yes.
My brother died in 2003. And when I went down there last year, his matter has been settled because I am administrator on it along with his daughter so that the children them could benefit.
Yes.
When I went down there last year, so they are telling me that the matter, they are waiting, they have a matter there to settle as far as my brother is concerned. The matter has already been concluded, so I have documents to it because I had the power of attorney one of his daughter that is living in the state. They, as Administrator General, the case officer did not know that the matter has been closed, and I don't tell her so. So till the lawyer brought it to her attention about 2-3 weeks ago. So, Sir P, I don't know what is happening, sir. It seems as if there is a department within a department there. And it's pure frustration, sir. And I would be very grateful, and I know the lawyer also, because I thought that she, being a lawyer, she would be able to, get certain information and things. They are not cooperating, sir. They are not cooperating. They are going around. So I think they must be waiting on me to die. Based on the documents submit, they know that I'm 60 at the year.
You better mind them, go talk to Dr. Finn and get him to make a prophecy against you.
Well, Sir B, I never know. I'll tell you something, sir.
Or maybe they have talked to him and tell them that you're soon dead.
Make I tell you something, sir. But look, I have children, sir. So it won't profit them because if I should die tomorrow, I'll put it in a way, sir, that my kids will take up the matter, and if them can't do so, my grandchildren then will take up the matter and make sure I line up a thing. You get me?
Good.
All right. So it don't suit them to wait until I
All right.
die.
Just hold on a little bit and give your name and a telephone number where we can reach you.
Yes, man. No
and
problem,
case
sir.
officer.
No problem.
Right?
Yes,
okay.
sir. No problem.
Okay, hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Mutty.
Yes, sir.
That man, maybe why he's been going through so many troubles is because his father didn't make a will.
So what?
To the property.
Yes.
And the mother didn't make, the wife didn't make one. So then,
But they're both dead.
Right. But before they died, if they had made that will, their name.
Yes, indeed. But the point is this: that assuming that the fact that they hold on, the fact that the father did not make a will, does not mean that they must place unnecessary difficulties in the path of his son.
Well, you see what really happens after a while, and nobody comes to pay taxes for that property. So that may be again no taxes being paid for X amount of years. So that's why the government steps in and takes it over. So that could be where they are.
Well, I don't know how many years.
Well, so that may be the fault why he's having that difficulty.
I wonder if that man is he still there?
And has to pay back the.
Could you put him back on? Put him back. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, P.
Yes, we have a gentleman here who is offering an explanation.
Yeah?
He's saying that that the property could have been left with the taxes unpaid for years. How long ago did your father die?
My father died in 1986, sir, but that's not the case.
86?
Yes, but that's not the case, sir.
But hold on. In the intervening years, has taxes been paid on the place?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Paid by?
His wife, and then after his wife died, her daughter had the matter in her hand. She did all repair to the place, etc., sir. Do you get me?
So when did the mother die?
The mother died sometime in the somewhere in the 90s there. But that is not the case, sir, because after she died, the daughter took over the place and was dealing with it. Because remember, I was not aware of what was happening because I figured more or less that they had straightened out the matter. So as I said to you, it is when it reached to the stage now that the daughter failed in her bid to do administration. And I was contacted by the attorney who inquire at the last place that I was working, and they say yes, and somebody sent me a message.
Oh.
I came into the picture then.
Okay, all right.
It is
So, caller?
Yes.
You heard what he's saying?
Yeah, I heard, but I'm still saying there's a little between that time. I've seen something there, so maybe that needs to be clear between he and the Attorney General.
Like what?
Because you not getting into the picture until when your sister or whatever could not gain access to what she wanted to. Then that's the time you get into the picture. So maybe because of you out of the picture for that long time, who to tell maybe she doesn't pay any
No, she pay up. Everything, every bill, every receipt is the Administrator General has it.
Okay.
The repairs that she did, I heard that she did nearly $1 million worth of repairs on the place. She did what she had was to do with the expectation that she would have gained
access
to the property.
Well, you let your lawyer handles it, and maybe
they're not cooperating with the lawyer.
Well,
so they're giving the lawyer a runaround.
Maybe you need to floor somebody hand down there.
I went to all the public defenders. So they have the case here right now dealing with all.
Well, I wish you all the best.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes. You had something else to say? Hello?
Hello.
Yes?
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
Uh-huh.
I just heard this caller was saying something about the budget and what areas were cut.
Uh-huh.
I listen and I watch it on the news where education gets X amount more and security gets more, and the biggest chunk went to the Ministry of Finance.
Hold on just a moment. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Yeah, Mutty.
Yes, sir.
As I was saying, the increase that I saw on here, what they got, but that's not the real thing. The real thing what I want to talk about now is you come and you ask for a job at your workplace where you are now, and they give you a dress code and whatever it may be as the rules and regulation of what it should be, right?
Uh-huh.
And after maybe say another year or so, you started behaving against the rule and the road code and the regulations, what you're supposed to do. And they say, okay, fine, we're gonna suspend you for a couple of days or whatever it may be, and then bring you back to see if that is gonna change you, and that hasn't changed, and then they had to put you out now. It's just like the children who the teacher had was to turn out from school that day. Because when you look at the kind of shoes, the way how they dress, they know that that's not the way they're supposed to dress to school. And they dress that way, and they have been warned over and over and whatever it may be, and then they want to put the blame on the teacher, the headmaster. That is not fair. Because they all have their dress code that they are supposed to go to school in. So why should a few want to spoil it?
That is the question, sir. Why is it that so many children seem nowadays to be prone to breaking rules? Why?
I don't know, and some of the parents agreed with the children.
Well,
if you listen to some of the parents, and when I see what these people from the Ministry of Education and all who were on that program the night with the evening saying their different views, it's like they were totally against the headmaster for doing what she has done.
Uh-huh.
And that shouldn't be the case. They should be the one there to lift her up and say, okay,
but
fine.
What is it that has been happening in Jamaica over the recent years that have led to this kind of situation developing? Because some years ago, that kind of thing did not happen.
Could not.
Uh-huh.
Could not happen.
Now, why is it that it is happening now?
Well, that's what I want to know, where the lawlessness comes from.
Absolutely.
It is because of you live in certain area, and then you have to go this way and, attend this way in order to...
No, but years ago, children who lived in those areas were as much inclined to obey the rules as were children who lived in other areas. Of course, one of the changes that has occurred is that in some of those areas, or in many of those areas, a different kind of lifestyle, a different culture has developed, right? The gun has become commonplace.
Right.
A lot of violence is going on. All of this is illegal, but people continue to do it, right? And do it profitably.
Right.
Right? And the persons who do it, when they get killed, they have high funerals, and those funerals are attended by high-ranking persons.
Right.
Persons of high reputation in the society, right?
Yeah.
And all of that kind of thing. So the whole Jamaica has changed.
But Mutty.
Right?
Yeah. Let me ask one question. Do you think in any circumstances, in any way whatsoever, throughout the world, there's any government who can tackle crimes and win it?
Any government can what?
Tackle crime, the crime rate, and wins it all over the world?
Oh yes, it's been done.
Where it's been done?
There was a famous case in New York where it was very successfully done.
But those people were able to cooperate and whatever it may be then.
Yes.
Because you have the cooperation of the public who, had seen that the minority goes and the majority stays.
Yes, but here in Jamaica, the level of crime that we are having, this is not ordinary crime, sir. This is anarchy. In any society, you have possibly 90-95% of people going about their lawful business.
Right.
You have another 5 or 10% that is engaging in criminal activity.
Right.
Right? But here in Jamaica, this is not what is happening. Here in Jamaica, more people seem inclined to break rules than to obey them.
Than anything else.
Yes.
Because
now, why is that?
Indiscipline. Indiscipline.
Yes, but why?
I don't know.
Well, you ever heard the Prime Minister of Jamaica saying that the law is not a shackle? Have you ever heard that?
The law is not a shackle. To be honest, I've never heard that yet.
You've never heard it?
No, I never heard that.
Well, the Prime Minister of Jamaica said it. He broke the law.
So if the law is not a shackle, then that means anything goes and anything happens.
Precisely.
Huh?
Precisely. It means that whenever he finds it convenient to break the law, he can break it. So what's the difference between him and me?
Well, there's not a difference, not because she may be the Prime Minister, he may be the Prime Minister.
Yes, if he can do it, if he can break the law when he feels like doing it, why shouldn't I feel free to break the law when I feel like doing it?
Well, you know what happened, Murty, because she has more power than you then, so that's where it comes in again.
Yes. So he can do it and get away with it.
But you can't do it and get away. But you can't do it and get away.
How you know?
well, it's not that you can't, but, it's not going to be that easy like how...
Well, but I mean, if I think I can do it and get away with it, why shouldn't I? If the view is that the respected view in the society is that the law is not a shackle, and all kinds of people of high reputations are seen or suspected to be breaking the law. The Minister of Finance, Dr. Davis, he breaks the law with regularity, There's a law passed in Parliament which imposes a limit on the debt that the government can contract. Right?
And he goes over that.
Dr. Davis breaks that limit. Right? And then sometime later at his convenience, he comes to Parliament and said, well, I've broken it. Please increase the amount to cover the what we now owe.
Okay.
Right? And then he goes back a while later and he breaks it again. Right? Now, if he can be doing that, the man down there, young man down there in the ghetto, he doesn't have the opportunity of doing things like that. He can't go and borrow $100 billion, right? Or whatever.
Right.
Right? But, I mean, he can get himself a gun.
Yeah,
and he can go and
go out there and rob whatever it may be.
You know?
Do all these kind of things.
Absolutely. Why not?
But, you know, it's
Dr. Phillips, the Minister of National Security, the man who is supposed to be directly concerned with, you know, dealing with this problem of crime and law breaking. He says that in Jamaica, the man who plays by the rules is the man that gets shafted. No. If you create a society in which the man who plays by the rules is the man that gets shafted, would it be reasonable to go around expecting people to play by the rules?
No, that would.
Okay.
Anyway, we have a really serious thing on hand in Jamaica, and we need
but of course,
because when I look at this man Bob Wilmot, and it's right in our backyard here, not in our backyard, in our front yard.
Yes.
And look at where he got killed, and you know it's really puzzling to find out who did it right now.
And let me ask you something. How long do you think it is going to take for the police to catch the murderer?
But you see, they might not, because what really happened is that if they had a tape to show inside of his room, then that could be one of the things. But if they doesn't have a tape to show out inside of the room who and he was inside there within a specific time, then that is going to be a puzzle.
But
the footage to show who comes out at a specified time, then that's going to be also a puzzle.
Well, I don't know, but what do you think are the chances of them catching the murderer?
Like I said, I can't see it.
You don't bet?
Because what I'm saying,
all
if
right.
they had this camera inside of the
all right,
room,
okay.
that was...
Thank you very much. All the best to you. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. And we're going to read some email for you now. But before we get to the email, there is an article in the business section of the Observer.
Yes, it would appear. So
okay, we just
page 11.
Yes, we're going to read some of that one, just a little.
Yes, it says about Mr. Wilmot, and
this is an article in which they're talking about security at the Pegasus.
At the Pegasus,
Hotel.
yes.
And what are
the headline is Pegasus Hotel security measures called into question.
And who is calling them into question?
The Pakistani senator, it mentions, and then it goes on to say the Irish team, that members of the Irish Cricket World Cup party have also questioned security arrangement at the Pegasus. But I don't know whether this is pre or post Mr. Wilmot's.
Yes. But we have yet to see evidence that fault security had anything to do with Mr. Wilmot's death. Because if the persons who killed Mr. Wilmot were persons whom he knew and whom he willingly had in his room, then that is not an issue of security. Anyway.
I don't know, because he's the Irish team boss, Roy Torrance, told the News of the World last Sunday, quote, "When I went up to my room, there was no security at all on the floor. There were 5 of us on the same floor as Wilmot, including our national coach, Adi Birrell, and Captain Trent Johnson." According to the article, the British tabloid, Torrance contacted the Cricket World Cup's director of operations, Michael Hall, to complain. The News of the World reveals that the issue went to the Jamaican Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller, who personally intervened to beef up the protection measures at the resort. This obviously surprised Mr. Hall because he rang back and half an hour later said he had phoned the Prime Minister, no less. He said the Prime Minister had apologized through him and said as there was no improvement by tomorrow, he was to let me know. This came on Sunday. The next day, there were 2 security men at the end of the corridor and at least one in riot gear and helmet. So security was definitely increased eventually. Now, I don't know. It's news of the world on Sunday.
It was after that Mr. Wilmot was killed.
I do not know. There's no date on it.
Oh, yes.
But this is being reported by the Caribbean Broadcasting Service. And in that same article, it says, it now transpires that Wilmot resigned his position after Pakistan's shock defeat to Ireland.
Who said that?
This is the writer.
It's no transpire.
Al Edwards. Al Edwards. Caribbean Broadcasting Service.
Yes.
It now transpires that Wilmot resigned his position after Pakistan's shock defeat to Ireland at the Cricket World Cup match played by Kingston Sabina Park 2 weeks ago. According to Pakistan's Cricket Board Chairman Naseem Ashraf, Wilmot tendered his resignation hours before his death. His email to Ashraf read, quote, I would like to praise my association with the Pakistan team, but now I would like to announce my retirement after the World Cup to live the rest of my life in Cape Town. Unquote.
That is being said, or that is being disclosed by the chairman of the Cricket Board of Pakistan. Is that it? He's the one that is saying.
The chairman of Pakistan's Senate Standing Committee on Sports was quoted as saying, lack security.
Yes. No.
This is not.
I'm talking.
According to the Cricket Board's chairman, Naseem Ashraf.
Yes. Wilmot resigned.
Yes.
But Mr. Shields, our Assistant Commissioner of Police, I heard him saying that there was no evidence that Mr. Wilmot had resigned and that no such letter of resignation was on his computer.
Well, maybe use another computer because it is an email.
Well, it doesn't follow. He could have written a letter of resignation and not logged it on. What's the word?
It's an email.
Yes, but he could have just written it and sent it off and not preserved it on the computer.
No, if it's an email, he would have to make a file and
well, all right,
send it.
Whatever. But the fact of the matter is that this is contradictory to what Mr. Shields said. So we don't know what we're getting in terms of the quality of information.
The Pakistanis also have again said that there was to be or has been a second autopsy. Mr. Shields says no.
A second what?
Autopsy, but on Mr. Wilmot. Yeah. So in order to speed up his burial, Mr. Shields says no. So I don't know.
I gather the Pakistanis are also asking, or was it the wife of Mr. Wilmot who
was asking for things to be speeded up.
Was asking for the thing to be speeded up.
Yes.
She better learn to wait, and be patient. Because I don't think the Jamaica police are going to bring this to any conclusion in any short time.
Well, Mr. Shields has said he wants everything to be done in a timely, professional and thorough manner. Mr. Perkins, dear sir, I heard that pensioner asking you about the withholding tax of 25% on any interest earned on savings. Mr. Perkins, every person in Jamaica, as you know, is allowed $193,440 if that person that is non-taxable of income. If that person is a pensioner who receives a pension from a properly approved superannuated fund, then it is possible to apply for another allowance from taxes of $45,000. If that person is also a golden age or over 65, they can also have another $45,000 non-taxable. So that would take them up to about $280,000 annually. That would not attract a tax.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, you have to pay 25%.
Yes.
And that goes for everybody. Mutty, I would like to try and interest the Jamaican government in the consideration of the castor oil plant as an energy source. One of the reasons for this is that castor oil plants grows like a weed all over Jamaica. Now, it may not be commonly known, but castor oil appears to be a particularly suitable source of biofuel.
Oh?
Yes, castor oil often comes up and does not compete with food crops. If we were to consider it as an agricultural crop grown for alternative energy sources, we could use the marginal lands and therefore not compete with food production or other agricultural export crops. The castor oil plant is not competing with food grade oils like coconut trees. Animals avoid it, especially goats. They will not forage it. The castor oil plant has a very high content of oil, almost 50% in the seeds. The seeds have to be collected by hand, just like coffee, therefore providing employment. Castor oil plants
also making the reaping process expensive.
Castor oil plants will grow with very moderate rainfall and can withstand long periods of drought, but will thrive under higher rainfall. Mr. Perkins, with the cost of oil and with the state of our economy, I think our government should start looking in this way. Mr. Perkins, did you see Direct TVJ this week? Direct on TVJ this week? I am sure I heard Mr. Don Anderson saying that he has research to show that most people do not like or care about scandals.
Oh.
I interpret this to mean that people are saying to the JLP, shut your damn mouth. Mr. Perkins, if this is true, it is like you witness a man committing a murder and you report it to the police, and the next thing the police turn around and lock you up instead of going and arrest the man. These polls are nonsense. Are Jamaicans really blaming Mr. Goulding for this traffic bureau business? Your thoughts, Mr. Perkins?
Well, sir, I am not. I don't have a great deal of trust in polls. You know. Okay, we have to take a break. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here on that.
Mr. Perkins, I have been listening to you for several years, but in recent times I have seen where you have gone to extremes in your approach. The reasons for these extremes in your approach, the reasons for these extreme positions are unknown, probably to increase callers to the program, among other things. I personally do not think that you should be using the radio program to promote nastiness.
To promote what?
Nastiness.
Nastiness.
Yes. But should keep such abnormality to your personal surroundings. There are far more interesting, uplifting, and edifying matters to be discussed that would be greatly appreciated than to spread your own belief and acceptance of homosexuality. I personally have decided to stop listening if this homosexuality promotion is prolonged, and I would wish that the listening public would take a similar approach. Too much foolishness now, man. Disgusted listener.
Very good, sir. Just switch off the radio or turn to something else.
All right, here's a report from a newspaper report. Antigua, Paresh Soni, and that's yesterday, 29. No Caribbean in Cricket World Cup.
No Caribbean?
Yes, in Cricket World Cup.
Meaning what?
Is the headline. It felt like an airport today at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. You had a rainbow of nationalities: English, Australian, Indian, South African, Irish, Kiwi, and even some West Indians. Yes, the hosts are in danger of slipping out of the competition after a demoralizing defeat by New Zealand. But frankly, the Caribbean has already been taken out of this tournament. By the end, the party stand resembled a scene after a night out in London. There was rubbish strewn all around, and a photograph is attached, with drunken men and women weaving various flags, deep in conversations about English football. Gravy, so often a cheerleader in these tough situations for his team, was seen dancing alone with no one within 10 meters of him. It was depressing. The finger is being pointed at the ridiculously inflated ticket prices and the decision to market the event to a foreign market which has not responded anywhere near as much as hoped for.
Yes.
And has truly backfired. The home side...
They weren't interested in having Caribbean people in those stands. What they wanted was visitors from abroad.
The home side did not deserve much support, mind you, after selecting a shockingly defensive side, loaded with batsmen who proceeded to produce a spineless performance. As soon as Darren Powell, the only strike bowler chosen, had delivered his opening burst, the writing was on the wall for the Windies. It's difficult to see them beating England, South Africa and Sri Lanka, which they probably need to do to make it to the last four. Indeed, if they and the English fail to reach semi-finals, the prospect of the three biggest one-day matches in cricket being played at virtually empty stadia is very real and very frightening. We can only hope Brian Lara's men raise their standards considerably and quickly in this difficult time. It is interesting to see what is happening right now.
Yes, well, I wonder if Brian Lawrence can make it back into the picture.
Mr. Perkins, the amount of $380 billion, even Jamaican, is huge. This is approximately US $5.7 billion. Almost $2 per head of every person living in Jamaica right now. We do not have a poor country, we have a poor government. However, they say countries get the government they deserve. And
that is true.
Here's a funny one. Version. An Aussie child was being punished by his mom, and in a fit of rage for being punished, the child shouted, "I'm running away to the West Indies." His mother asked why. He said, because the West Indies now beating a body. Have a good day, Mr. Perkins.
That's a good one. But things might change. You never can tell. You finished?
Yes, for the time being, Mr. Perkins.
Okay, hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Oh, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir.
Yes, first time on the program.
Happy to have you.
Yes, I called in to about the police.
The police?
Yes, and few other issue.
I beg your pardon?
And few more other issue. Do you think our police are doing their job?
Are they doing their job?
You believe so?
Well, what would be your measure of, well, the question is the question, are they doing their job or are they doing their job well? Which one?
Right, because if you may be not on the road.
Yes.
But if you see those police out there behave on the street, sometimes you wonder if these police are gang leaders.
Why?
The way they approach. Alright, the other day I was in Harper Tree. And I see about 4 to 6 police with 2 with long gun running down a man that's selling belts. In belt drop and scatter all over the place, and you want to see the man with them gun and things. This is not a good picture of the police.
Well, but what had the man done?
Well, I just went on, but they just want to take away the things them to throw it in the van.
You mean because he was selling in a place where he ought not to have been selling?
Right, because maybe he was selling in Harper Tree, and they're taking everything off the road and all those things. And it is a frightening situation to see there is no job and you're trying to do something.
Yes, but hold on, sir, but the police didn't, in fairness. In fairness, the police didn't, it wasn't the police that made that decision. Was it?
Well, it's the role of the government.
It's a government agency of some kind, whether the parish council or the central government that made that decision.
Alright, there's another incident that happened to me one at a time, right? I was in New Kingston, right? I was doing a job in New Kingston, but I leave to go and deal with a business for one of my family members. When I leave now, finish the business now, on my way to the bus stop, Mr. Perkins, I only see 2 bike man just ride down, jump off of them bike, cranking up the gun, and don't move. So, Mr. Perkins.
To whom were they speaking? To whom were they speaking?
To me.
Oh?
So then, when the way they approached me, the car, I was frightened. I was so frightened. So I said, this is what? Then to them get a call that there's 2 suspicious men walking. Mr. Perkins, can you be suspicious in the country? Can you be suspicious?
They got a call that somebody had seen 2 suspicious men walking.
Yes. Mr. Perkins,
so they come and stick you up?
Right.
Well, are they saying that you look suspicious?
They say they get a call that 2 suspicious men. So I said, what is this? This is rubbish. Because can you look suspicious in your own country?
Well, I don't know. I suppose you can. But, so what then happened?
Then now, when I'm finished now and search me and everything, I said to them, officer, this is not the way to conduct your duty.
Yes, but I tell you something.
Because the way you approach us like a gang leader. So suppose we did fight and run and whatever, you would kill us.
Well,
and him admit and say it's true.
He said that?
Yeah, he said it's true. I said, officer, this is not the way you go about your duty.
Well, I think that it is well known that kind of thing is done. And the government seems to have no objection to it. Right?
It is a disgrace. It's not like it's a disgrace to the Jamaican people.
And the government,
like animals.
And if you had run and he had shot you, what do you think would happen as a result of that?
Well, the small man, you just get shot and you go and you're dead and you was taken to the Kingston Public Hospital where you were pronounced dead, then that's it.
Absolutely, matter done.
And they might investigate the case, that's all.
Yes, matter done.
And you go and some of them take on something else.
And surely, I mean, this idea of the police sticking up some man on the road and searching him, it's the government that allows that to happen.
Right. Because what I believe they can control crime so easy, So easy, Mr. Perkins. Mr. Perkins, this is the easiest, simple little case,
You know, sir, let me tell you something. The law is there. If people can be made to believe that the law, what is happening in Jamaica today is that too many people are seeing the law as their enemy.
So true.
Right? If people could be made to believe that the law is their friend and is there for them, then I think that there would immediately be a reduction in crime.
Right, because
part of the thing, of course, is economic. The law is saying that you mustn't thief, but you can't get a job to earn something to eat, right? And so what do people do?
Right, because Mr. Perkins, if you look and see even the graduates from the university, you look and see when all the years their parents spending money on them till they borrow money to further themselves. When you leave the university and you apply for a job, when you apply for a job, what they reply to you and tell you?
Well,
they need 2 years, 3 years, 4 years,
yes,
or 5-year experience. What that's telling you? That there is no benefit for the young people that
I tell you something. If these young people had any damn sense, what they would do when they leave the university is go and register at PNP headquarters.
All right.
Right? And then, thereafter, they make their job application.
Yeah, they need to view these cases. They need to view the situation and the problem, because if you spend out all that you have at the university and you come home sitting down, can't get a job because you don't have any experience.
Yes.
What that's telling you? That
yes,
there's nothing here to offer to these young people.
Well, a lot of them are leaving the country. We spend a lot of money training them, giving them university degrees, and then they have to go abroad to use them to make a living for themselves. Anyway, I have to go, eh?
Okay.
Thank you very much. It's time for the break. We'll be back here shortly. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello? Hello?
Good afternoon, Mr. Perkins.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
I was listening to that caller who spoke about his father's estate.
Yes.
With the problems he was having with it. His father died intestate.
Intestate, yes.
And his mother also died intestate.
Yes.
When his father died, his mother had full legal ownership of his father's estate.
Is that so?
Yes.
How do you know?
Well, I have had an experience in that similar matter.
Yes, but in this case, if the father left no will,
yes,
then a lot would depend upon in whose name the name or names the title was to that property.
In my understanding, if the father left no will, the ownership of the property will go to the wife.
No, sir, I'm not sure that is the law. I'm not sure that is so.
Yes. Well, on one occasion...
I think if the father leaves a wife and children,
yeah,
then the property is to be shared among them.
not necessarily.
Okay, all right. So
I have an
you're a lawyer, I defer to you.
I have an experience whereby my wife's sister, her husband died, and his property went to her second husband instead of our children.
Well, I don't know how that one works.
Yes.
He must have made a will to that effect.
He didn't make a... So the children now had to depend on the kindness of the second husband in order to...
Oh, the sister died?
Yes.
And her property went to her husband?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Our present husband. When she died,
yes,
our property went to the second husband.
Uh-huh.
Although it was the first husband who bought the property.
Uh-huh.
And he died leaving a son and a daughter.
Uh-huh.
So the property that was left by the wife went to the second husband instead of the children of the first husband.
Uh-huh.
So the second husband was kind enough to sign the necessary documents with a lawyer in order for the son and the daughter to get what their father had worked for.
Uh-huh.
So in this case, with this gentleman who just spoke some time ago, I think that is the case with him. His father died leaving no...
Well, I don't know, sir. I don't know, but I should be very surprised to find that you are right. Right?
Well, he has to do some research on that.
Uh-huh, you too.
Yes.
All right? Thank you very much. We take a break. We'll come back shortly. You're listening. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. And I gather we have no callers at the moment. What is happening? Everybody seems to have hung up. But the lines are open now, so you can call back. Anyway, that Wilmot case, very interesting, that item in the Observer this morning, telling us that, well, among other things, that the chairman of the Pakistan Cricket Board is saying that Mr. Wilmot actually resigned before he died. Now, I'm sure I heard Mr. Shields at a press conference, at one of his many press conferences, saying that there was no evidence that Mr. Wilmot had resigned, and that it was not that no such letter was on his computer. But this is telling a different story. So I'm just wondering if Mr. Shields got it right, and what else he may have got wrong. Hello?
Yes, Mr. P.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
I have a problem I would love you to help me with.
Eh?
I have a problem.
Yes.
My father was in court with some people that him sue. The case was in court from, I think,
some people that he did what?
Sue.
Oh, he sued them?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
And the case was resolved the 21st of June last year.
Yes.
And my father gained the right.
Uh-huh.
And from that, the lawyer keep on turning my father and us. Every time he goes to the office, him hear that he must come back next time.
Come back about what?
Can't get through. All him here is that the case must go back between the two lawyers because they can't be agreed on the sum, the tax that must be allotted to my father for his time.
For his time?
Yes, sir. I mean, like, you goes to court for a period of years and your expense, etc.
Or his costs?
Yes, sir, cost.
But hold on a little bit. Isn't it the court that is to decide on costs?
He was saying, the lawyer was saying, the two lawyers. That is the next.
Or have they? Is it that the case a compromise has been arrived at?
No, sir. No.
Oh, the court decided the matter in your father's favor.
Right, sir.
I don't understand. Why didn't the court order?
No, he won the case.
Yes, all right. So one would expect the court to award costs.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
That's what I would believe.
Uh-huh.
But the lawyer keep on putting off my father every time he goes for the office. He must come back.
I don't understand that, sir.
Well, in this case, sir, on the 8th of February,
yes.
I accompanied my father because I went with him all the time through the court sessions. And the 8th of February, we went to his office. Well, about 3 or 4 minutes before the lawyer came to the office, the persons inside the office told my father that he must go home and come back next time. Now, we went outside and tarried sometimes, and then the lawyer turned up. The lawyer told me to call back his office on the 14th of February. When I called back on the 14th of February, the lawyer told me that sometimes the 15th, anytime after the 15th, I can call. By then you will get some word from the court's office. What is going on? So I called back the 19th. The person that answered the phone told me that the lawyer will be in about 2 minutes time. Took my number again. By this time my number must I don't think they have any space to put my number in their office. And I never had a call from her. We went to the court's office sometimes on the 9th of March.
Yes.
So the lady called them over the office. Now, what they told told the lady is that they don't have a form to do what they call it? I don't remember this thing wherein they would file up to get the same thing that he was saying that he got through with.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it is called.
Judgment?
Yes, sir. He don't have any form to register the judgment.
But I don't know that he has to have a form to register the judgment. I don't understand that.
Look at it, Mr. Perkins. Of all these times he keep on turning my father around. And at this time when he told me that I must call the 14th, after I call the 14th, he's saying, and in time after the 15th, and after I call back the 15th, no, the 19th, no, nobody respond to me. And then when we went to the court's office, no, that was the time they were saying that they're asking for form, they don't have any form.
I don't follow all of that, sir. I don't know what is going on there.
Mr. Perkins, and then the lady in the court's office tried to be kind. She said, well, then I must call her back in 2 weeks' time, and then she will try to get some answers from the lawyer for us. When I call her, she's saying, I call her on the 23rd, and she's saying that she don't get any word from them. So we would love to know what can be done.
So your father hasn't received any money or anything?
Nothing at all, Mr. Perkins, just been turning around. And that is my concern, sir.
Well, I tell you something, so part of what, one of the flaws I would find with your approach is that you're going to see the lawyer and calling him on the phone, write him a letter, telling him that you don't understand what is going on, and would he please furnish an explanation?
Mr. Perkins.
Yes, sir.
Could I go on to the General Legal Counsel, sir?
You could do that. But I would write him first and try and get an answer from him. Right? In writing. Which you might then take to the General Legal Counsel.
Mr. Perkins, I don't believe that man would respond to us, sir.
Well, but if he doesn't respond, that would make the matter worse. Anyway, I tell you what. take the matter to the General Legal Counsel.
That's why I think
okay?
I should do, sir.
Yes, okay, go ahead and do that.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, hello? 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 What's going on? Nobody? Then why don't they talk up?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, buddy.
Hi, how are you?
Not too bad. Time is short and I'm on the road.
Yes, indeed.
But R-E-S-P-E-C-K. So why not Shearers? Why not Shearers?
You heard that the esteemed professor was addressing the United Nations.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
Oh, dear. What drivel must have been laid before him.
But
you know, buddy,
unkind.
I mean to say, you know what is the worst thing, buddy, for our people, my brothers and sisters? Those who were educated and give them all the things in education and university, everything.
Yes.
They want to turn it against the poor black people, you know.
Oh, is that so?
And tell them, say, you must learn English. Stay in your patois and things, right? And they have a command of the, I tell you, chap, the Oxford dog from Oxford.
You sure that they're not heroes and shearers, sir?
Yeah. You know, and they want to promote this patois, you know, amongst our people. And then what we are going to do? Cut off ourselves from the rest of the world, from the progress and everything. You tell me which computer thing language is in patois.
You know, sir, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Damn foolishness.
Let me tell you something, you see. A book in patois is probably going to cost 5, 6, 7, 8 times what the same book in English would cost.
Of course, because the market is smaller, right?
Yes, because when they make up the plates, right, they will print 10, 100 times the number of books that they would print on the patois. The market for the patois thing is far too small.
Right. And then nothing. Again, some people spell patois one way, some spell it another way. So it's going to be confusion, you know, like the Tower of Babel.
Yes.
Right? Who's going to determine the right one? Lord Master God, I'm wrong with you, boy. You know what I mean? Who's going to determine? What is the grammar?
It's a problem.
You know the nuances in language. The different nuances in language. No wonder we're so hostile to each other, because honestly, the words that you can tell people in patois hurt them more than if you use the English language properly. You understand? You can disagree without getting violent.
Matthew, I have a problem. There are certain patois words, you see, that are...
There's one that begin with R that I don't
Yes, are said to be bad words.
Yes, it's a...
And I think it is disgraceful that in this country people should be sent to prison, prosecuted, and sent to prison, and waste the time of the court.
Of course.
Because they utter one of these words. I think there should be a movement to abolish that piece of legislation.
And you know, Mutty, I always said to myself, why is it that when you go to England and you use those words before a policeman?
Yes.
He's at sea, don't know what language you're speaking.
Absolutely.
Why is it in Jamaica? And the only answer I can give is that the black slaves used to use their words. And the Englishman, them never know what them planning, right?
Yes.
So they call them bad words and the black people must use their
Well,
words.
it's not just that they didn't know. It is that these niggers were being damn feisty. Right.
Exactly. And imagine we get independence in 1962.
Yes.
And we're still using the shit. That's why all society is so class. Really know about it.
Anyway.
Okay, but...
Time was gone. Okay, that brings us to the end of Perkins Online for today. We hope to be back tomorrow, usual time, usual place. We look forward to your company.